It's after dark. Happy Monday night foosball. How's it going, Tom? I just got terrible news. Yeah,
the world is ending tomorrow.
Well, maybe. Yeah, Pedro Pascal has been admitted to the hospital with severe back pain from carrying the entire Star Wars universe on his back.
I thought that was Baby Yoda.
Baby
Yoda.
I still didn't even watch The Mandalorian.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Bad.
Somebody clipped all the Baby Yoda scenes into 1 minute and 34 seconds.
I'd say he's not in this episode that much.
Mm.
No, it's pretty much. It was pretty much the same plot as the Mudhorn one. Remember?
Kind of, sort of. Yeah. Are you talking about the one with the Jawas?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Yep.
Yeah. It's your basic Western plot. You know, the gunslinger shows up to help the sheriff. You know,
what Star Wars is missing though? More Muppets.
Yeah, I know. Well, anyway, I am Rob Robot. Oh,
yay! We're going to talk about the Muppets here in a little bit. And I'm Tom Connors, of course. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, whatever it is where you is. And with us as well is the Queen Harpy herself.
I can find her theme music. Just a second. Here it is.
That's me. Oh, I have my camera on. I probably look like Where is it? Where's the camera? Ooh. I have a burger too. So I look terrible without the thing. Slap. I don't have a slap. I have a dulcimer. Does that work?
Yeah, you can play your own theme now. And joining us, we have Mr. Ordsboards, my boy.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, Ords?
Not much. What's up, Rob? What's up, Mega?
I like that lighting.
Thank you. Yeah, I spent way too much money on this Google bulb.
But that's how you achieve that lighting, a Google bulb?
Yeah. It's kind of cool, man. Like I got the phone here and here. Oh crap, where to go? Yeah, you can actually hook it up to Google Home and like you walk in a room, you say, "Hey Google, turn the light to green" or whatever, and it does it. But like I can change it to different colors, and it's fun.
Oh, neato.
Yeah, and then if I wanted like regular light, I can do that, and I've got multiple different regular lights that I can do. Like if I wanted more like a yellow light, and
but the whole thing, I mean, just you being illuminated and the background being all dark is like, ooh.
I love it, man.
That's the look every YouTuber is trying to achieve now.
Well, I tell you who kind of inspired me, man. Comics Division. So, with his lighting in the background, he's got that kind of like blue.
It's all moody.
If I snap my fingers, can you go to red alert right away?
I mean, maybe not like right away, but I can definitely.
I'm giving you enough work. I didn't snap that.
Darn it!
Snapping retroactively.
I'm hoping they add like a strobe feature to this app at some point. That would be great.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Hold on. I gotta play that. Darn it!
Red alert.
Yeah. The sound.
All right, all good.
Favors, sets to stun.
Oh, red alert.
It's just people trying to send sonar through space. It's fine. They're a ship full of idiots. They don't know. They'll blow themselves up eventually.
Are the Klingons off the starboard bow? What's going on?
They're so pathetic. They never are to be heard from ever again, right?
Spock, report. I've only had 3 hours of sleep.
I don't do any good Star Trek impressions. Sorry, guys.
we were doing this thing because our lead story, because it's Monday before an election. There's no real news, it's sucking all the air out of him. But Tom and I were doing this riff about what would the Muppet Show look like in 2020? Who could they possibly get as guests? It would just
gentlemen, Bono, yay!
Well, I'll tell you this.
Why are we doing a Muppet Show, Kermit? There's a man living in a tin shack in El Salvador who doesn't get to vote. Why are we doing a Muppet Show? It seems rather fruitless, don't you think?
We're just entertaining the people.
The people need to be educated. Kind of,
Well,
don't you know? Where do the people stand? Definitely for Africa. That's what I want to know. Kind of the frog.
Well, we got the set all set up for. Still haven't found what I'm looking for in the grocery store.
Are you going to pay Island Music for the 3 cents for that royalty that you owe me?
Well,
So that I can turn around. Pay no attention to the $200,000 sports car behind me. Coming the frog, because I'm all about activism.
I'm actively wishing that we'd have called Jack Black instead.
Yeah, that's where the Muppet Show would be.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lady Gaga, yay!
Burnett.
Gaga, Gonzo.
So which Muppet did you snort coke off of?
You'd have all the chickens. You have all the chickens.
Wow, man.
All the chickens singing in unison.
Oh, well, according to this is a disturbing image, but according to the Hollywood Reporter, the Disney's Muppet problem can the franchise reckon with its boy club culture? Since when is the Muppets just a boys club?
It never has been. And also Disney has its hand up of everybody's ass, I think. Disney.
I saw that the title in the show. That's why I hit you up, Tom. I had to jump in on this. Now,
well, you're always welcome.
And I appreciate that, man. So, I this is the first time I'm hearing about this article, so I'm glad that because now I have to do a video on this. But let's see, Disney Muppets problem can franchise reckon it's a boy. What are they? Do we not have Janice? Do we not have Miss Piggy? Do we not have?
Wow, Kermit! Like wow, totally.
Kermit, I don't know. Anyway,
I mean, I know they added like Skeeter to Muppet Babies, so they had another girl, but I mean that's because they didn't use what's her face. You just mentioned her name, and I just forgot it. Janet. Yeah, like
we already had the equality and stuff when they added Skeeter.
Well, that's not
Skeeter was annoying as piss.
What about Gonzo's wife, Camilla the chicken?
Camilla's a girl. Of course, now they're going to start crying rape.
I mean, and you look at the original Muppet Show and the guests that they have. There is a wide variety of guests. They have female singers, male singers. They have female dancers, male dancers.
We know what the fuck Gonzo is.
That's true.
Well, he's an
alien. We know what he is because of Muppets from Space. But
I know, but they totally should have never done that because that just ruins the joke.
Here's the thing. I enjoyed the movie, but yes, it's kind of like why people like the Joker. There's maybe an origin here, maybe an origin there. We don't really know. The mystery behind it is great.
It doesn't matter. Ultimately.
I did enjoy the movie though. I did enjoy that. Yeah. But yeah, no, the Boys Club. This what? Like.
For the old podcast I used to be on years ago, Reality Wasted, I toyed with the idea of doing communist movie reviews. Yeah, dog, comrade, I go to see movie. I go to see how you say with a frog, a pig, and
Muppets.
I go to Greg Gonzo. Muppets, Muppets. Very much I'm liking these Muppets.
I'm liking it when they took Manhattan. I'm thinking we can do that.
In the Muppets, they must save theater for proletariat from evil capitalistic richmen.
But how did they take Manhattan? We must take notes.
Dog, comrade, I go to see movie. I go to see Captain America. He's very sad movie. Very sad. Now, Red Skull, he was hero of the movie.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, granted, in the OG cast, there isn't most of the female characters are performed by men, granted. But that still does not change the fact that you have a multitude of female characters, especially Miss Piggy, first and foremost, who is the ultimate diva. I mean, come on. I mean, who embodies, woman more than Miss Piggy?
I mean, we're talking about season 1, episode 1, the first episode on the original Muppet Show. Rita Morneau, a female, first episode.
Oh yeah, they had a lot of female guests.
Tons of them.
Like yeah.
Rita Coolidge, Chris Christopherson,
Ruth Buzzy.
Yes, Olivia Newton-John. I believe it was.
Yeah. Candice Bergen.
Oh yeah.
See, here's the thing that they never ever like to admit, right? Whenever they like to say, "Oh, we need to add more women," there's no representation. We never felt like we were excluded. Look at Ghostbusters. Look at anything. I never felt like I couldn't.
Yeah.
Where does it say, "Oh, because there's not enough women Muppets, you can't," I mean, and I know it's not really so much like you can't be a Muppet when you grow up, because look at how many of them are running around this planet now. But seriously, just because you don't see it on screen doesn't mean it's anti or against, or there was even a problem.
Yeah,
I'm tired of people.
Yeah.
Season 1. I just got actually tracked this down not that long ago, just fairly recently. Season 1.
Yes, that's my boy.
Is that the furry one? All mine are the furry ones.
I don't have the furry one, unfortunately. Yeah.
Well, the second season, did they do every single one of them? Did they
no, they only went up to season 3, I think.
I think so.
All
Yeah,
them are furry, though, yeah.
And of course, all the good ones are season 4 and 5 with like. Yeah.
Well, they're all good. I mean, I really appreciate season 2. I think that's what Steve Martin and yeah. I lost my season 1. I bought it years ago, and somehow it got misplaced, or I don't know what happened to it.
Well, I'll probably get a copyright claim for this thing here, but I'm gonna play it anyway. So, guys, send in some super chats. Speaking of, we got a couple super chats I'm going to address here in just a moment. But speaking of how strong women were, I mean, this is one of the most famous Muppet Show fucking skits ever.
Oh, right. Oh, this is amazing.
Oh, Rock on Wealth. Yeah.
Yes, one of my favorite episodes.
I love that.
Man, she's smoking. Man, dude, they don't.
That's a classic, man. That's a fucking classic.
They don't do it like they used to, bro.
Did they have Helen Reddy on there too?
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, she was, I think, in the first season, I believe, if not second, for sure. She was one of the earlier ones, yeah.
Actually, Shirley Bassey was on one time singing Goldfinger.
So I got a list now, and I mean, it's like I think there have been more women on the original Muppet Show than there were men.
Oh,
well,
surely.
They're mostly talking about the behind the scenes work.
There were women behind the scenes. There's female. Look at Fraggle Rock, especially once you go into like later seasons.
Sesame Street, yeah.
Yeah, Sesame Street, Fraggle Rock. I mean, you've got to take into consideration how many women are going to want to lift up one of those giant puppets with their farm. Like, there's not. It's a really a matter of choice, people. You can't force a lot of women into jobs that they basically don't want, that they might not want, because once they go and get into puppeteering, they might realize, oh, these puppets are fucking heavy, and I've got to balance them on my forearms for hours and hours and hours on end, and maybe I don't want to do that.
Let me see. Seth Abramovich. Oh, okay. Well, he's putting it out there. So should we, what do you think he looks like? Should we reveal what he looks like or not?
Is he soy? Is he a soy boy?
I put him in his here. There he goes. It's
I mean,
it's
correct me if I'm wrong though, but didn't Jim's wife have just as much involved in the show as he did? Like in the show, like
she was right hand for a lot of, or left hand, or whatever.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
And I mean, I think she did. Who was the little girl Muppet? I think her. There was other female Muppeteers who came in later.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like it was a boys' club for the whole time.
Well,
and
even
like, yeah.
I would say, look at the cast of Age of Resistance being a Jim Henson production. I mean, Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance. There's lots of female puppeteers on that. I mean,
even the Dark Crystal in general, like you go back to the original. I mean, the girls could fly, and the boys couldn't. It was just
oh yeah.
They give them. It's like I don't mind little things like that, because it was 30 years ago, even 40 years ago, and they don't understand that all of this made up modern day divisionist bullshit. We see right through it. We know what you're doing. We get it. You're trying to do your little re and whack crap. We get it. Just stop. It's just we need to.
He's gay, so he's like going after the whole "there's not enough women in my Muppets" thing. Motherfucker, you should be like standing up and saying, "I'm glad the Muppets existed." Like they were like very like out there.
Here's the thing. Here's what the Muppets were able to do that I think a lot of other properties weren't able to do, which is blend not only child entertainment or children entertainment and adult entertainment into this family experience that everybody could enjoy. And they wrapped it in this beautiful chaotic package that was just colors and fun and just chaos. And when you're young and that's how you feel, like you relate to it. And I remember when I was a kid, the first time I saw like a Muppet on the TV, I was kind of scared because it's this like this tangible thing that's moving. And I didn't understand how it existed because I'd never seen anything like it before. But it wasn't until I learned how puppets work that I became fascinated with them. But that whole beautiful concept of like family entertainment, the Muppets were so good with that. And I feel like that it's lacked, especially in this Muppets Now crap that Disney has, which I could go on forever about that. But anyway,
I'm sure Gonzo falls in that Q category.
Gonzo was the first something.
Yeah.
Let me go right through this in a minute.
I'm coming out someday.
That's good, man. That's good.
There's actually another I wanted to that broke today.
Well, no, I was just gonna say this picture speaks volumes more so than the fucking article. I think Muppets have a Disney problem, not a man problem.
Yes.
To be honest with you, I think that's the problem. Is they're stuck in a place where Jim Henson had the right idea when he's always wanted to sell the Muppets to Disney because he thought they'd have been taken care of. But that was Disney under the regimes of like the original Walt Disney and Michael Eisner. Now they're all about what can we consume and exploit.
Well, hell, for the first 10 years, they had no idea what they were doing. It was like, oh, let's just take this property and turn it into just strictly a kids entertainment, division and not make anything for the people who, were there from the beginning.
Well, I think that's what they forgot is that Muppet. And I mean, actually, they did try to make whatever that Muppet show on ABC a little bit more adult, but I think they went too adult. Maybe that was the issue.
Yeah. And this has been my issue with it the whole time is like, stop taking the Muppets and trying to force them in a modern day situation. Okay. Just write what the Muppets are supposed to be and let them exist in a modern day situation. You don't have to force them into an office setting or make it seem like this show just, where was the song and dance? Where was the Gonzo
like Rob said, why can't we just get a fucking Muppet show?
Yeah.
Like the original Muppet show. How hard is that? Go ahead, Rob. You were going to say something.
Yeah. What you were saying, though, I mean, like you said, Disney, I mean, it wasn't, no doubt under Eisner, if Eisner was still running things, he would find a place for the Muppets. He would. I mean, the only reason why we got those two movies was because Jason Segel from How I Met Your Mother and his writing partner, he went into a meeting and he said, I want to do the Muppets. He goes, oh, we got a lot of projects lined up for you guys. No, I want to do the Muppets. And it took him 6 months for them to finally say, okay, go do your Muppet movie. He had a script written. He went in every few weeks. I want to do the Muppets. No, we have this one. No, I want to do the Muppets. You don't understand. I want to do the Muppets. And when you give the Muppet movie, it wasn't a great movie, but it was entertaining. It was good for the Muppets, and that's what you needed. You had a guy who truly loved the Muppets, and he said, I'm passionate about this. This is what I want to do. My entire life has been leading into a situation where I want to do the Muppets, and I finally can do it. And I'm gonna do. And he made it happen. Did you guys, everybody here, see that movie?
Yeah, it was good.
Oh yeah, I got it. I didn't care for the second one as much, but no, you're right. I mean, despite the new Muppet not caring for him too much, I mean, the overall story arc was similar to a Christmas TV movie they did, but. It was also similar to that same script that got used for that movie that was around for a long time. But
yeah, you're talking about the a very Merry Muppet Christmas.
Yeah, where this is the same basic story. They're trying to save the Muppet Theater. Yeah.
Like I said, he took all the elements, the Muppet Theater. Where are the Muppets now? We did cameos by certain people. Come on, Dave Grohl as Animal,
felt like a Muppet movie. Yeah.
Yes, Dave Grohl as Animal. Come on.
I mean, like if you look at those original Muppet movies, like the cameos, just like they had in that movie, and the reason the second one wasn't as good is because Jason Segel didn't have any part in it, as far as I understand.
And they tried to do like this whole like doppelganger thing and whatnot. But I got to get caught up on these super chats.
Yeah, do it.
We got a super sticker from Culture Casino. Thank you so much, buddy. Fat Steven Seagal beat up Ryan Johnson, sent in a Canadian $2. Says, Orge tried to kiss me today. He kept kermiting.
Yeah, pretty much.
True words.
True story.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
he admitted it, so that's between you boys. Adam Welford sent in $2. If Muppet Show was, they would get Doomcock. I think he means now. Oh, that would be awesome if they got Doomcock on the Muppet Show. That would be great.
God. If anybody's listening and knows how to make puppets, can we get a Doomcock Muppet?
I have been trying to get an actual decent Kermit Muppet ever since everybody's like, yeah, you do a great Kermit. It's like I cannot find one. They're like impossible.
Mr. Dictor Van Doomcock, yay!
And I dare not take a chance on spending like $200 on one on eBay. Like people can make them handmade or whatever. Like they claim to be from like the Henson Company and shit like that, but I don't trust them.
Yeah,
there's gotta be a way you can make one. There's got to be a way you can make one.
Well, yeah, I mean they can't be that difficult. But anyway, Matt G sent in.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, are we creating our own puppet show here, Tom, or is that what we're doing?
Oh, I would love to have
on board.
I'm a big fan of puppets. I've always been a fan of puppets.
On board.
I got a gremlin puppet right above me right now. Matt G says with $2. Side note, Rob, are you ready for Giants versus Brady?
No. Giants. The only thing Giants are playing for is a draft pick.
See, and here's one directed at Mecca. Nikki D sends in $10. Mecca's right. I've never felt excluded from male-oriented entertainment as a girl. In fact, I bet you are a woman, not a girl. In fact, I feel more insulted by recent lowbrow attempts from Hollywood to make everything more inclusive. And if you're not a woman, then what the fuck are you doing listening to us? Your parents should be ashamed of themselves. Nerd Cookie sent in $5. Hello, Nerd Cookies. How you doing? A British person calling someone a Muppet is perhaps my favorite insult.
It is. Let's see here, Muppet.
A bleeding Muppet.
That's right, Muppet.
Midnight Muppets. There we go. I could put on a better Muppet show than the fucking. That's
dude.
my point.
Muppets are only like $300.
Let's do it.
You can make your own. You can get them customized.
Well, that's what I've seen on eBay. Is like there's this guy who claims he used to work for the Muppet Workshop, and it's like for $250. You're supposed to be able to get a legitimate type like Kermit. I just don't know how good it'll actually turn out.
Yeah, that sounds sus to me, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I mean, the price seems right, but then it's like, can I get some more credentials maybe or something?
There's a couple of guys on YouTube that I would trust to put something together.
See, now, yeah, if somebody wants to point me in the right direction, help me out, that'd be great. DM me on Twitter or whatever. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys watched Muppets now? This new garbage they got?
No, I think Mecca, didn't you watch a couple episodes? Who did?
I know I did.
The new Muppets. I know you did,
no.
But somebody else in our circle did. Maybe it was okay. I know. I think Lorena and maybe a couple other people did.
Yep.
And they all said the same kind of thing. Yeah.
Not a single song was sung, man.
Why are there so many songs about rainbows?
And what's on the other side?
Paul Williams.
The other side is the same thing that's always there.
Yeah. I love it. But yeah, what's up?
I was thinking about how perfect a song that is for that movie and that character.
So good,
isn't it?
That song. I love it, man. Just the beginning of it. The dun dun dun. Dun, it was just playing those quarter notes or whatever he's doing there, and it just sets up so beautifully. And then the pan shot coming in before drones were even a thing. That shot coming into the swamp and then it just starts like after that beautiful song, and then it just starts with comedy gold, man.
Tom DeLuise.
Henson never gets enough credit for the type of special effects they were able to pull off with the Muppets. I mean, to this day, there's people like, how the fuck did they ever get Kermit the Frog to ride a bike?
Yeah, yeah.
That is a great. You're right, though, George. That's a great establishing shot.
It shows the epicness of the story. It really draws you in. You get some beautiful scenery, and it sets the tone, man. And we don't do that stuff enough anymore, like in films. I mean,
I was almost gone with the Schwinn.
No, like, that right there to me is the Muppets, man. Like it's really simplistic comedy.
There's a fork in the road. I don't believe it.
Yeah, go left at the fork in the road. He's like,
fork in the road. That's it. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't believe it.
I mean, it's just no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, don't let me cut you off. No, go right ahead.
Oh no, I mean, I'll go on if you.
I love the second movie better. Like even I mean, of course, the songs in the first movie are better, but that second film, the Great Muppet Caper,
it's good,
especially when they get to the hotel. That shit's all good. Like, oh, I love that. That
No,
movie is so fucking funny. It's like they're twins. Yeah, I can see the resemblance.
Did you guys like Muppets Take Manhattan? I really
Oh
enjoyed
yes,
it.
love Muppets Take Manhattan. Yes,
So good. Like
yes.
it gets you into feels. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah.
Even like the Muppet Show had all that kind of sophisticated humor too. Do you remember Veterinarian's Hospital? Rolf the dog,
God, yeah,
Dr. Bob.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Gonzo was going to oversee the wedding ceremony.
He's like a doctor that has gone to the dogs.
We need to get the next patient. Who's our next patient? Who, doctor? No, Doctor Who. That's another show.
Oh, I love
Tune in
Ralph.
next week. Well, you'll hear the doctor say,
Dr. Bob.
Ralph was the first original Muppet, right?
Yep. For dog.
He was on, and he was on Jimmy Dean's show or whatever, and I love that because he's like, "You're running, I'm running. You're going lickety split, I'm going lickety split. What'd you stop for? I split my lickety."
Have you guys seen some of these old Jim Henson commercials, like before Kermit was even a thing?
Yeah,
the Wilkins coffee.
Yeah, and he used to do the Soup Dragon and a few other ones too. And they had the singing for the car company, the gas company or whatever, with singing pumps and a bunch of them. Yeah, I got a couple of Jim Henson documentaries that are great.
The Wilkins coffee stuff, man. It's basically this one character that has like Kermit's voice, but he basically there's these like little punchline jokes, but they're kind of savage. He like ends up shooting the guy at one point. He ends up stabbing the guy to death at one point. Like he's like I can't even think of what run right now. If you want to bring it up, cool. But he like ends up, he's like, I don't know. He's like basically blows the guy up, and then he says, "Now, see, if he was drinking Wilkins coffee, then this would have been a problem or whatever." And it was just, I couldn't believe that this was something that they had back in the day because of how like it's kind of savage, man. This dude is seriously just killing this other guy.
He is. Jim Henson had a little bit of a mean streak in his comedy for sure. Sometimes
he's like at one point he's wiping blood off of a sword. Like it's what the hell? Yes.
Wilkins coffee. I don't want any. Then push that button. How about a cup of Wilkins?
It's just classic.
With this camera, I shoot pictures of people who don't drink Wilkins coffee. I'm ready. Shoot.
That's good.
This new car, it's got a built-in maker for Wilkins instant coffee. Who needs it? Well, you can't sell them all.
He's doing both voices too, because that's his Ralph and his Kermit voice. Yeah.
Yep.
Got your parachute? I forgot it. How about the Wilkins coffee? I forgot that too. You'll never forget this.
That's what I'm saying.
Any last requests, like for a cup of Wilkins coffee? No. You don't drink Wilkins? No. How shocking.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad.
Want a cup of Wilkins coffee? What'll Mr. Wilkins do if I don't? Oh, he'll probably put his foot down.
This is so good. Where did that go in our entertainment?
Out the window. Adam Wolford sends in $5. You guys know that there's a meteor passing over Earth. Maybe we might have the Fallout universe about to happen. Also, try Etsy. Yeah, I've never really used Etsy before, so I'm kind of I'll have to look into it.
I've got the 30th anniversary singing Kermit.
I know.
Yeah.
I was looking for vintage Gillette razors on Etsy.
I say most of the ones I find are just the little hand puppets that look like garbage.
Right.
Mr. Tickle Trunk sends in Canadian $5. Muppet Christmas Carol would have to be the best adaptation of a Christmas Carol story in history, if not for Scrooged. And you are right. It's actually the most accurate, to the point where, you got Gonzo playing Charles Dickens. So he's actually reading shit from the book. Like the way that the story, like he makes that joke, like, what was it? The Marleys were dead to begin with.
Yeah.
That's some dark stuff to start a story with. I know, but that's the way it starts.
Yeah. And I believe that was
This is a kid movie.
I seriously, I believe that was Steve Whitmire's first interpretation of Kermit on film. Yeah, that was his first. I think that was his first project as Kermit after Jim had passed, and that was really the movie that made me fall in love with the Muppets. Was that I couldn't tell you how many times I wore a VHS out watching this movie, and it's really when I fell in love with them. I always loved puppetry, but when I fell in love with the Muppets was that. So, yes, it was the Jim stuff too, but Steve Whitmire, man, and you're right, Tickles.
Yeah, I love Muppet Christmas Carol. I'm Charles Dickens, and I'm here to tell the story, and I'm here for the food.
Yeah, totally. They fall through the chimney on the goose. Oh, it's great, man. I know that whole song, that whole opening song by heart.
Yeah. And I love the other part is, Mr. Scrooge, it's a little cold. Can we get a little bit more coal for the stove? How would you like to find yourself suddenly unemployed? And everybody, oh, it's a tropical heat wave.
yeah. That's the best one right there, dude. No joke.
And Treasure Island was real good too, because
that was
Gary in that one. And
yeah.
The spam.
Or like he's like, old Billy Bones, and he dies like 4 different times. Yeah.
And then they got like, I can't remember the old, but it was like old whatever, and then really old Joe or whatever, and then like really old Joe, and he's like dead.
Yeah, that's like old Tom, really old Tom, dead Tom.
Dead Tom,
yeah. That's good shit, man.
That's a good shit. Yeah, that's back when the Muppets were still good. And then I think once Frank Oz was out of the picture and David Goles, like that was it. And Steve Whitmore, I don't know. I mean, I've heard a lot of stories about the guy. I don't know what to believe.
Yeah, I've been trying to get an interview with the guy. He has a channel.
Cool.
He has a channel, cool. and it's weird because I actually have more subscribers than he does.
Because one side of the story is he's really passionate and gives a shit about these characters, and he really cared about keeping Kermit and the rest of the gang a certain way. Then the other side of the story is he's a controlling, abusive asshole. So I mean, which is it? Because like there's a lot of people that said that like he kind of took it like as Jim he was like the caretaker for Jim Henson's everything. Like he felt like he was the final end all be all on everything, and he really wasn't as in control as he thought, or something like that too. But anyway, you probably know more about it than I do even.
Well, I feel like part of that might have been the reason, but I think most of it was the fact that like he cared so much and he kept putting his 2 cents in, and then when there was a decision made that he didn't like, he was very vocal about it. Maybe to his detriment, at least with the Muppets, as far as the Muppets are concerned. I don't know. I'd like to believe that he was passionate about it, spoke up, and Disney just got tired of it because we know how Disney does. There's always somebody who's ready to take up that job if they kick somebody out. There's always they always have somebody there. And from what I see, he's very passionate about puppeteering. I mean, like I said, I think he's rocking like 600 and something subscribers, but he puts out content. I like the content that he does. It's fun.
You'll have to link me his page. I don't think I got him.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's an OG Muppeteer. I mean, he was one of the younger guys, but he's still one of the OGs. I mean, he was Rizzo.
I actually had I did a video about the Muppets. I think it was my first review of the Muppets Now. And there was somebody who commented, and I didn't like my review, obviously. And I had said that like, he learned, Steve learned from Jim, of course, because when Steve was new when he came in, and Jim took him on and taught him. Well, then the argument was like, Jim didn't teach him how to do Kermit. I said, no. Jim taught him how to puppeteer. He didn't teach him how to do Kermit. Steve figured that out on his own. He's not my favorite, but I've only seen very little of this new guy, and I'm not digging it. I don't. There's moments where he hits the voice really well, and I'm like, okay, and the presentation of the Kermit puppet is a little more accurate to Jim's, I think. Like, the more mild mannered Kermit, where the more professional side of Kermit, just in the way he portrays the puppet with his hand too, it's a little more Kermit. But the voice, every time he does the voice, it's almost like get that guy to puppeteer and then bring somebody else in to do the voice,
like me.
Yeah, dude, yours is more convincing, I think.
Oh yeah, if I really tried hard enough. But no, like I didn't really care for Whitmore's voice, but I really do feel like he captured the character.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, there was no doubt about that. I mean, I never felt like I was watching a new Kermit per se outside of the voice.
Right.
I mean, throughout those films that he is in, he is not that big of a deal. Like, I mean, honestly, it was probably a bigger shock when I heard Gonzo's new voice and stuff like that. Like that, because if it's not Dave Goelz, it's like how the fuck?
Yeah.
Because I mean, even I can't even do Gonzo that good. Mr. Tinkle Truck sent in another Canadian $2. My family watches it every year. Well, I try to watch it every year if I get a chance to. But time doesn't always permit. But thank you guys so much for the super chats. We appreciate that. And we do actually have quite a few stories to talk about, as much as I'd love to continue to talk about the Muppets all night long.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we could at some point. We got a couple of stories to get through here real quick. What should we go with first? I know this is one Mecca sent. The mighty Thor.
Oh, Lord.
She's Thor. Well, it's that time of the month.
She's Lady Whammon Thor.
See Thor when it's that time of the month. It hurts. Natalie Portman confirms her Jane Foster will have different powers than Chris Hemsworth's Thor. Oh, Goody.
It's not Thor. It's totally
not
different.
Thor, right?
Not Thor.
She has the power to almost lift up a prop hammer with those.
If I'm being honest, I do like the hammer in the Thor, like how I do like that, but I don't know.
That's where it ends.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right there.
I keep saying my mom knows nothing about comic books, nothing about superheroes. But I said, I showed her a picture of Natalie Portman and says, Mom, she's going to be a superhero. And she said to me, who's she going to save?
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Jeez. She's right, though. That's what makes it funny, because it's true.
All 4'11", vegan, 98 pounds.
It reminds me of the Eddie Murphy skit where, he's talking about, oh, yeah, Mr. T's looking for you. He's pretty pissed. Oh, shit. So I got to fuck up out of there because, I don't want to fuck with Mr. T. But then I was at another party. Somebody's like, hey, man, Michael Jackson's here and he's looking for you. I'm like, so? Mikey don't win a buck, but if I go 5, I'll fuck Mike up.
Right? That's why people are like, oh, well, what about this and that? They're 98-pound vegans. What do you expect?
You know why? People get pissed at me when I say, you know why the movie Annihilation with Natalie Portman failed? Because no one is going to believe that 98-pound, 4'11" vegan Natalie Portman is a battle-hardened anything.
Well, and I've come to the point where I'm convinced that I don't know why in the world, and I'm finally with you, Rob. Gina Carano should have played Valkyrie.
Yes.
Wow. You just blew my mind there. Thanks.
Oh, she is so stunning, and she is.
Well, I could buy it though. That's the thing.
She is literally the term of like what defines stunning and brave. She is gorgeous to look at, and she is so brave. She stands up to the woke mob BS.
Well, not only that, she looks like she can whoop all of our ass at once.
Totally.
Let me link to that article.
And she does superhero landings, so that's awesome.
And Tom, you'd enjoy it too. Yes, mistress, may I have another?
Rice too.
Damn right.
Portman is a battle-hardened.
I'm not really into that kind of a thing, but
like I said, who is she saving? Right there. Like I said, that
she looks so unsure of herself. That's the other problem.
They had to hollow out the prop just so she could pick it up.
I mean, look, but in all fairness, she has the same shape as the hammer, all the huge head and the.
What kind of smile is that too, by the way?
That's her. I can't believe I'm signing on for this. I have to actually eat food and swing around in a harness and actually show up and do physical things when I only eat 5 Tic Tacs in a day.
I think it's more of the face of, I can't hold this up any longer. Will somebody please come help me?
She doesn't have a very tight grip on it either.
Where's the one where she's with Tessa Thompson and she has pretty much the same expression?
Oh my God, does that mean she actually got some fucking work done and she looks like that all the time now? Good God, Gertie. DCB Titan, thank you so much for the Canadian $2. Is Femme Thor like Wonder Woman monthly firefighter?
Wow.
Are you talking about those fucking magazine covers? Or comic book covers? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Here, hold on. Private in the chat. The picture of her and Tessa Thompson together.
All right, here we go.
But I wish Jake were here to talk about this because Jake was saying,
Oh, you can send him the link, man.
Yeah, let's see if Jake is.
I haven't had. Oh my god, what the fuck is it with that face? My god.
I don't know. Maybe her skin's just so tight from all the vegan
got a
food.
Shit.
Yeah. She's incapable of smiling because her skin is so tight around her face now. Because she's,
Let me
that cannot be a fucking smile.
That's not.
And she ain't got no tits for that fucking thing to be holding it up. How the fuck is that gravity even holding that up, Mecca? Her top
I don't
there.
know. I couldn't tell you. Well, I think it's just tied onto her. So, adhesive tape.
I guess.
Going to say double-sided sticky tape.
Double-sided sticky tape. Yeah.
Let me tell you, I've had to make like Halloween costumes and stuff, so I had to research how to do that kind of stuff. Two-sided tape, carpet tape.
Somebody said a prophet of doom says horrifying Joker face. Oh, Natalie Portman is the Joker. Yes.
Oh God.
That'd be terrifying.
Okay, so anyway, what are her different powers going to be?
Oh God, please help me.
She says you're getting ready to film.
I have one. Let's guess them. Let's play a game of guessing what they are first. My first guess is the ability to blend in a crowd of small children.
Smashing the patriarchy. Is that another one?
Eating a vegan meal in a single bound. I don't know.
Saving kittens out of trees.
They did.
No, that's too high.
So
Tom, they did that with Superman, right? He saved the cat actually to sort of show that to humanize him, right? He's not this untouchable.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and it worked. I mean, to show like, don't worry, I've got him.
And then they made fun of that in Suburban Commando. That's the best part. Yeah, you ever see that? She's like, my kitty's in the tree, and he pulls the whole fucking tree down, and he goes, here you go. And she's like, that's not my kitty. And he's like, oh, and he lets it go, and the fucking cat goes flying.
Oh, yeah.
That was in the trailer, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Adam Wolford said it $5. Natalie Portman, can you hold $10 at all vegan superstore on food no human should eat? Not if all of the other foods and animals.
You need a whole $10 at the vegan store.
Oh, okay.
I think what's more alarming here is somebody gave Kelly Clarkson a show.
Oh, fuck yeah. Well, she's not that annoying. Larry sent us a super sticker. I can't.
She's not that annoying. These are our television entertainers.
Yeah, she's not that annoying. Could be worse.
Actress Natalie Portman recently revealed that her Jane Foster character in the upcoming Thor: Love and Thunder worst metal album from the 80s ever.
She's like, I look at it this way. I mean, Kelly Clarkson, she's a woman who can, she can carry a little weight. She looks good with it.
Hold
still.
on, wait a minute.
Go sing,
Pan back up a second, Tom. Pan back up a second
Larry, thank you for the thumbs up before we lose that there. So thank you, sir. And thank you all for the super chat so far. We appreciate it. They do keep the lights on. But anyway, panning up. All right.
What's Chris Hemsworth's leg doing holding the hammer over here?
No shit. That is not a holy fuck. That is the manliest arm I've ever seen on a woman. Is she trans, Thor?
Transly Crusher.
Is this what? So maybe she transforms. Maybe they're just turning this into like Sailor Moon or something, where she just transforms into this giant muscly superhero or something.
Well, here's the thing: is like in the original comic, isn't the whole thing like she has cancer, and isn't it because she's using Thor's hammer she gets the cancer or some shit like that?
The cancer progresses. Because
and I think that's the storyline they're going with here.
See, now what Jake, I was talking about this with Jake, and actually he said the thing they haven't figured out is when did the Thor movies become good?
I like Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, when she wasn't in it, but some people don't like Thor Ragnarok, so I get you.
I like it. It's good.
I love Thor Ragnarok, but
bad joke, but that might be her jerking it arm. That's why it's so big.
Oh, she's a righty.
Like Quagmire.
We will have the footage in that movie that she did about lesbian swans or something.
Okay, well, we already got a review for this film, by the way.
This sucks. Yeah, it really sucks.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Use out of that.
That made my night right there, Tom. Just so you know, that was awesome.
Tim and Flip sends in $5. She will have the power to drive viewers away. Yep. That's what Beavis and Butthead have to say about it too. Adam Wolford, thank you. You didn't have to send another super chat. You could have just added me. He was trying to. He says, "I forgot she can save you $10." That's what you meant. Okay, got the joke now.
Natalie Portman. Her other power is finding discounts at Whole Foods.
Oh shit! Let me guess. She bought more candles than anybody from Gwyneth Paltrow too.
Totally.
$80 a piece.
Oh my God, Mecca showed me that site. That is the most overpriced garbage you'd ever want to see. But it's
$600 skirts, $300 for a tank top.
What?
I know nothing about women's fashion, but even I know you go fuck it. You just go to Kohl's or TJ Maxx.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Mecca. Isn't one of the biggest problems with women's clothing is you guys pay 3 times the price for a third of the clothing that men do, and stores jack up the price on women's clothing because you guys buy more clothes.
Wow.
I think so.
Scam.
I'm pretty sure it's a scam. Oh, it
is.
That's one of those things that women bitch about that is true. That is totally fucking true.
The pink tax, they call it.
Yep, the pink tax. That is, I do agree with that. There's more than enough proof that exists in a way. So, and the same thing with shoes. Look at women's shoes compared to men's shoes. Same kind of thing. But anyway, so we guessed her powers. She does have powers. It's not exactly the same as Thor. It's her own version of it, and she's called the Mighty Thor.
And when she's on her when it's her time of the month, she's invincible, but only for 4 days.
Nobody's gonna go, hey, did you get that new The Mighty Thor comic?
I don't trust anything that bleeds for 5 days and doesn't die.
That's a good one. Sorry, that's a good one. That's classic.
Portman appeared on the Kelly Clarkson show, where she revealed she's in Sydney, Australia, getting ready to film Thor, the new Thor. When asked by Clarkson if her character would get all Thor's powers, Portman answered, "She does have powers. She does have powers. It's not exactly the same as Thor. It's her own version of it, and she's called the Mighty Thor." You know what? It's not a fucking title. It's the guy's name, Thor Odinson, which literally means Thor, Odin's son.
Right.
That's how it works.
Son of Odin.
In Scandic languages. Peter Erickson. Peter Erickson.
So does that mean I'm Tom Andre's son?
Probably. In the comic, abilities are similar to the Asgardian god's abilities. The hammer grants her flight, including through space.
Well, I'm pretty sure he's a Viking, so
yeah, he is. She's also able to whip Mjolnir around and call it to her as she showcases.
I need a soundbite of Andre saying that. So we can just push a button and it's just Andre because he can actually pronounce it.
Yeah. It also grants her increased ability as she faces off against Thunder Guard. Finally, she's also to create thunder and lightning through the use of the hammer, as seen when she confronts Loki. There are some major changes. Maybe the biggest is the inscription on it is changed when Foster picks up the hammer. As you can see below, the inscription change says, "Whosoever holds his hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor." Oh, they're pronouncing Thor now? So they change it to, "Whoever holds his hammer, if she be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor."
That makes more sense. DCB Titan sends in Canadian. We got a lot of Canadian folks in the chat today, and our Canadian hasn't shown up yet. Sends in $2. That's not pink text, it's idiot text. Well, here's the thing. Honestly, I think women could really do something about it if you guys all just said for one day, we're not buying any clothes or anything like that that's women, like feminine products and stuff like that. And I bet you the whole world would freak the fuck out.
You would think, but then they would be, well, you're just going to buy it the next day. It's one of those things.
Remember that that big brouhaha about Gillette razors, all the wokeness surrounding that?
Yes.
Toxic masculinity. I'm like, why aren't women more pissed off? Well, first of all, Gillette used to have grid girls in racing.
Fucking Canadians, I tell you, they're nothing but worthless. And they never show up on time. Oh, hi, Script Doctor.
Yeah, Canadians suck.
It's funny you just popped in because I said because we got a bunch of Canadian super chats, and it's funny. Our Canadian isn't here yet, so I had to give you some shit, and I get to do this officially for somebody else other than Rob. So hang on, I actually kind of excited about this. I gotta find it. Where is it? There it is.
You're fired. You're unfired. I need you. Come here.
Well, we have snow over here today, so everything's gone crazy.
No, I saw you were on that other podcast. That was pretty cool with the guy from
Dark Matter. Yeah, Joe
Dark Matter and SG1 and all that shit.
Is that over there on Orville Nation?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
so
was
shout
dope.
out to those guys. I saw you guys on there. I was watching that before I hopped over here.
I caught a little bit of that script. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was great discussions.
Oh, Tom, there's another power she has. She's able to plug a hybrid car in single-handedly.
Does she know how to save money with car insurance and coupons too, or what?
Nah, she missed that class.
Is this Jane Foster?
Yeah. I bet she does business better than any woman on earth. Yeah,
Except fight cancer.
Yeah, there she is right there. So yeah, I'm fucking done with that. What the fuck is the point of this?
It's more the new woke Marvel.
It was the only way they could get fucking Natalie Portman to come back, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. What happened to the it won't work without a female director?
She's
Yeah, that's
making me start to hate her. I mean, I used to, she was Padme.
Yeah.
She's pretty unlikely.
Start to hate her.
She used to be great. I thought she used to be great when I was younger, and I saw episode
She was
1
the
on
fucking professional.
Yeah.
I've been wanting that sequel for years. I'm like, she's old enough now. Where the fuck is it? You know, it's like, come on. That is a badass movie. And then you put her as an adult now, as the trained fucking new killer. She's fucking good. There's your strong female character. Where's that fucking movie? Come on, Luke.
Yeah, and get a good female director like Patty Jenkins to direct it or something.
Well, the thing is, I think part of it is because Luke Besson's been accused of being a bit.
Well, go on and just completely do a super wham power movie, but without all the stupid. I just want to see a woman like in movies again look like just one of the guys again, you know, because that's one thing that really
That's a good movie.
A lot. Every time I see any of like our old 80s movies or any of that stuff, we weren't really treated super different. I mean, you had one or two stereotype girls who was like super girly, but girls were just like in jeans and t-shirts and, you know, not really super different than guys back then.
And we also have a very special guest coming in, the one, the only Robert Meyer Burnett. How you doing, sir?
You don't have to call me special. I'm not special.
You're special to me.
Oh, yeah, no. That's wow.
Hey, I'm special. I've been tested, okay?
No. Let's not confuse the type of special that you are, Rob, with the type of special that Robert Meyer Burnett is now. He
Rob,
does not
you didn't have
listen to those.
Rob, you didn't
not
have to get the
buy him
test,
helmets.
Rob. You didn't have to get the test. I could have told you were special, man.
Oh, by the way,
I love coming in here. You always make me feel. All of you make me feel so good. I love it. Forever I'm having a bad day. I hope Tom sends me a link and I can go feel better about myself.
Always,
Love
you
it.
know, you're always welcome here, sir. And I'm thinking about announcing that special thing we talked about. We haven't got a time for it yet, but we are ramping up to do that.
Just so you know, something similar. We were doing that on our whining about movie show too. So we had already planned that, but we're not doing all of those things. We're only doing one of each.
Okay, well, I'll kind of lay it out here because Andre just said the only way he was on board is if you were on board. I'm like, all right, because I'll explain when we get there.
Yes, I'm on board.
I figured you were, so yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Can you guys talk about this or no? Because you're getting me excited.
All right, fuck it, let's do it now because I hate this shit. All right. Last night, I'm scoping out Vudu, and I see that all the Bond films. Well, first I noticed that the Sean Connery Bond films in 4K were on sale, and then I looked at they had all 24 of them for $149. So I'm like, hey Rob, check this out, because only the last 4 are available on 4K Blu-ray.
Right, the Connery Bonds aren't only the Daniel Craig.
Exactly. So I'm like, you know what? I wonder if this would be a decent investment because I've never watched a Bond movie before.
No, first of all, when you wrote me that. Like, I thought you were kidding. I thought
no,
you were
I've never
yanking my
watched
chain.
one all the way through. I know the tropes. I've seen clips.
I've only seen a few of them myself.
Yeah.
Here and there. Yeah. I wouldn't mind watching.
You young people.
So what I did is I took the plunge and I bought those last night. And every week, at least hopefully every week, we're going to try and plan it. Robert and whoever else is going to join us, and we're going to review every single Bond movie. I'm going to start from the first one. I've never seen them. I'm going to give you guys my full, you know.
Did you buy the 50th anniversary set?
It's the 4K. Yeah, well, it's the digital versions, but yeah.
Okay.
I'll probably pick up the Blu-rays eventually just for the special features.
Only because the special features are really good for the Bond films. They're really and I think they provide necessary context, because one of the things that people sort of forget about when the Bond films began in '62 is that, you know, the post-war World War II generation that really began the American middle class in the 50s, the Bond films, when they first came out, were showing a lot of people a world like most people hadn't traveled internationally on an airliner before, you know, and when or gambled in Monte Carlo or went to the Bahamas, and so the Bond movies very much like Hugh Hefner, and that's why Bond was Playboy it was all kind of the same thing. They were showing the American man, the men of the world, this jet set lifestyle that they could only dream of because everybody had come home from World War II and set up homes and gone back to school and had kids and families, and it was this wish fulfillment thing. That's not the case with Bond now, but James Bond was huge when Goldfinger, when it opened, played 24 hours. It was like Star Wars. It played 24 hours and everybody went.
They brought the DB5 on tour.
Yeah.
For Goldfinger.
By the way, if we do this, I bought the Eagle Moss 1/8 scale DB5 kit. It's like this big. And I've just been collecting the parts. I don't have all the parts, but I could start building it. And by the time we get to the end of the Bond films, I should be done with it.
Well, that'd be cool.
I'm like, here's our progress.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
See, Robert's from the same mindset I am. We both remember, you know, tonight on the ABC Thursday night movie.
Yeah.
Sean Connery is Ian Fleming's James Bond 007 in From Russia with Love.
And you had to, I don't know if you had to, but I had to negotiate. Like if Thunderball was on, it was like in a 3.5 hour time slot. So it was past my bedtime. So I'd have to like negotiate with my mom. And I always did the same thing. I'd go to my mom and go, "Hey mom, never mind." And I'd walk away and my mom would be like, no, what? I'm like, well, now you're just going to say no. And then she's like, no. What do you mean? I'm like, no. What? And I'm like, well, Thunderball's on tonight. I know my bedtime's at 9, but I'm gonna have to stay up till 11:30 to watch it. Can I stay up and watch it? And my mom would, you know, she'd beg me already to ask her, so she'd have to reluctantly agree to let me stay up past my bedtime to watch Thunderball.
You see, my father was from Italy, and he would have no problem with letting me watch it with him. Because
I got to answer this. Oh, go ahead, Rob. Finish your
anyway, they would go to Venice, they would go to Cortina, or you know, and like, oh, my Cortina, I love it, a Cortina. I've been to Cortina, you know, yeah. And he's like, you gotta go. He's looking at me. You gotta go to Cortina. You gotta go to Italy. And like, I didn't have the best time though. So.
Full blown Italian. Of course, I'm sure you've heard the stories about his dad when he's younger, about how he got away from the certain specific people who wanted to take other people off the face of this earth.
Yes.
But
by the way, I'm curious. I mean, being that you're a Bond virgin, this is going to be a delightful thing to hear your opinions, because that's a very rare thing. And maybe we should do it with Mecca too, because you know, having the female perspective about the Bond franchise.
I've seen a couple of them here and there. I'd love to watch them all, because they're kind of those movies where I know I'd like them, because I know I liked the ones I saw when I was like 15 or 16. And
I like the Pierce Brosnan ones, right?
Which ones?
Pierce Brosnan, right? Is that?
No. I was watching the Sean Connery ones on
right on.
TV, I think, or TBS, whichever is airing them in like 95 or 94 or whatever.
When TBS,
I
was going to say, when TBS bought the rights to those and they had like 7 days of Bond, I was like, oh yeah, park myself right here.
Yeah, that was what I was watching. Yeah,
this kind of bounces off. Oh, go ahead, Nick.
I never got to finish them, and then just for whatever reason, I just never had the time to go back and watch all of them. I think I've seen pieces here and there, but I've never actually sat down and watched them all in their entirety.
Right.
It's interesting too, because there's material in it that's they're problematic now. Yeah, some of them are.
I think that's charm, though. I think from
Yeah.
remember that's all the charm of the time period, and that's it's almost a fantasy now. I mean, if you get into the more adult realm, I think where but that's people kind of like to say one thing is problematic or is not, and I like to say, well, what about choice though? What about choosing how to handle whatever you're offended by?
Well, it also, history is history. You go back in time and somebody was victimized by somebody, depending how far back you go. And I find it interesting. I mean, we're supposed to move forward and evolve. And when people talk about, well, this was back in the 60s, this was problematic. Well, it's problematic from your perspective today. But back in it was a very different world. And I don't like that people don't take that in consideration.
Right.
When in Goldfinger, when he pats the girl in the butt by the swimming pool, I mean, that was perfectly acceptable back then.
Yeah.
Well, and Heather Heard What has a great question here, and this is an actual legit question. How are you in fandom and never seen a Bond film? What the fuck? And this is true. It's because for several reasons. One, my dad I don't think was ever really that big of a fan, so they were never movies we watched when I was growing up. Yeah. They were never movies I really sought out on my own. By the time I was an adult, I knew enough about them that I'm just like, yeah, I know what they are. I know the tropes. I know a lot of, the Bond actors. I kind of have an idea. And, between all the parodies and things of that nature, I already kind of vicariously know about them. So I'm really interested to see knowing all these things going in with that viewpoint, how I'm going to see these films, if I'm going to be able to take them as seriously as like you guys did growing up. That's going to be an interesting thing. But no, that's a totally legit question. And I probably should turn over my nerd card for that. Well, I do understand the feeling.
Well, I have one question, actually a request. If you're doing this Bond review, once you get out of the 60s Bonds, can you take like a respite and do the two In Like Flint films?
Maybe, because like my plan is to try and get all these done before the new Bond movie comes out. Hopefully. I mean, we know there's 24 films, but yeah, basically that's where I'm looking at 24 weeks kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to try and watch the first film within like the next week here and try and set something up. It's, we got to work out a schedule with Mr. Burnett, of course. But other than that, that's really the only thing holding it up right now. So
well, it's not like
there's a lot figured out. Yeah.
There's not a lot of breaking news in the next 2 months.
Exactly. So like, I'm sure we'll have something more. I'm sure we'll have something more to say soon, but I figured since you're here, we might as well bring it up. But otherwise I was going to save it for a bigger surprise. But no, that's kind of the plan. I'm going to watch all the films, and some of these guys are going to come along with the journey with me. And
I was to say real quick, don't feel bad, Tom, because I've seen bits and pieces of the older ones. I grew up with the Brosnan stuff, and I loved it back then, and then which went into the whole Austin Powers stuff, which I absolutely love. So I know the older ones have inspired tons of people to create great things like that stuff that I enjoy. So I'd be interested in going back and watching those originals.
Yeah, I mean it's surprising when you go back, and even I, who've seen the movies a million times, when you go back and you watch them again now, I feel that my perspective changes as I get older, and going back and watching it, I'm always surprised by something in the Bond films.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to check them out for the first time. I mean, I was kind of excited about it. I'm like, this would be fun, because just seeing how much you guys always talk about them, and it's not like I want to be part of the conversation. It's just like, no, I mean, I see you guys have this love for it, and it was just always kind of something I just saw as, it's that thing. And now I mean, it's time to really get into it, probably.
Well, yeah, it'll be interesting to hear, like when you're a kid, when it was like wish fulfillment, you wanted to grow up and be James Bond, and you wanted to have those adventures. I mean, what's not to love? And nowadays, like when M says in GoldenEye, you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur, product of the Cold War, which was true. And he literally, Fleming wrote in the 50s, he was a product of the Cold War. But I've always thought it was interesting because you need Bond. If there was no Bond in the world would have ended many times over.
Exactly.
And it's like if people were talking about how he was a sexist, misogynist dinosaur when he was in the middle of doing his job, I mean, he lived on the edge. He was always one step away from oblivion. So he drank in as much about life and you don't apologize for that.
Right.
Literally having a pair of balls to stand up and say, you know what, screw this. I'm going to do the X, Y, and Z and get it done and not care that you have a problem with it.
Right. Well, let's talk a little bit more, Bon, but I want to get these super chats because they have to do with our story. No, you're fine.
Well, I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, this has to do with the story we were just finishing up. First, whenever Thor summons Mjolnir. I know. And if he is injured or almost dying, it can heal him back to full health. Second, she is basically the same powers as Thor. Also, the hammer is somewhat aware. So yeah, I guess I get what he's saying is like, why wouldn't? And that was my question: is wouldn't her getting the powers of Thor save her from cancer, not give her cancer? I don't understand that.
I thought it did in the comic.
I thought so too, but I'm
not
sure.
It inhibited the chemotherapy treatments, is what it
I mean, even Deadpool pretty much got his cancer cured, right? I mean,
yeah,
well, it's fought off, I think.
Right?
Right. The healing factor has negated the cancer.
That's weird.
And then Rude Artist
tissue,
and then Rude Artist sends in $4.99. Thank you. Says you guys should play the "Show Me Your Wormhole" Miss Portman clip from the South Park.
Oh gosh,
I love South Park. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, guys.
That's a good clip.
But no, I was really excited to ask you about that, and I knew you'd probably be excited about it, Robert. But I'm thrilled that you're thrilled to be a part of it. So that'll be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to announce when we're going to be doing this.
I have an original one sheet for Dr. No hanging in my bedroom. Linen back, museum quality mounted.
Dr. No kidding.
Dr. No kidding. It's true.
And Ords, you say you got a jet, sadly?
Yeah, unfortunately, man, this has been a great conversation. I got to get going, unfortunately, man. So thank you, Tom, for having me.
Well, no problem, man. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, Mr. Burnett, it was awesome, man. Hopefully we get to stream.
I love, by the way, the lighting in your on your set there.
Everybody
we were talking about that at the beginning of the stream. Yeah, I don't know. I love it. It makes me get in the mood,
I need to do that in this room too. I gotta go. The lighting is very
I'm
cool.
just gonna be setting up my new office soon, so hopefully
I can't wait. Tom's got some cool stuff, man. We always play show and tell when Tom and I hang out. So
oh God, you want to show and tell? Robert would put us under the table.
I would love to. Hey, anytime you want to show stuff off, I will sit down, shut up, and watch.
This just I don't know.
The Captain Harlock hot toy.
It'd be like the scene
you know what? That's too far. You know what? I put Captain Harlock next to the Arcadia. He's next to his ship now.
It'd be like the scene in Jaws. Ords and I'd be like Roy Scheider and fucking, Richard Dreyfuss sitting there comparing our scars, and then here comes Robert Meyer Burnett. I got a story for you.
Hey, I did think I put my from the early aughts. These are all the 7 samurai from the movie.
Nice.
So these are I put Tom Cruise as Nathan Algren. I got a bootleg figure of him in the back, and you can't see it, but I put George Lucas there. I've got my George Lucas hot toy figure up there as well.
That's awesome.
Because he was inspired by the 7. And these were in a box for 6 years.
Wait. There's a George Lucas figure.
Yeah, one of the
is it 70s George Lucas or 90s George Lucas?
No, he's 70s. He's thin. He's as a matter of fact, Here, I'll get it.
I'm just wanting like black beard or gray beard, right?
Here is that. Now, I have to say that this figure, as I put this up here.
Yeah, be careful.
This was before they did anything that was licensed. So this was just called The Director.
Oh,
look at him. Look at him.
He's missing the beard, but yeah.
Man.
He's got the, I mean,
it looks like
great, but this was probably made about 16, 17 years ago. And they did unlicensed figures, so they could only call him The Director. But he's got his jeans on,
them jeans are legit.
I know, right? I can rock a mustache better than you can.
So I mean, I had to put him with the 7 Samurai because he was, Star Wars was all inspired by that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, again, thank you guys so much. Robert Meyer, hopefully we can do this again. That'd be great. Tom, thank you for having me on. Script Doctor, my brother. I love you. Rob, you're awesome. Mecca, you're awesome. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. I love you guys. We'll talk to you later. All right.
Good to see you.
All right. Thanks, man. We'll see you guys.
Great seeing you, Ords.
Absolutely.
I have my own version of hot toys, except they look more like this. So.
Yeah, well, see that's
you didn't tell me again.
Oh, jeez.
I've had this for 15 years.
That's way more impressive because
I spent some money on this, even though I shouldn't have. Because I know you were talking.
Dude, is that the Rambo box?
Yep.
I haven't got mine yet.
Just got it today. I mean, I've got all the Blu-rays already, the 4Ks, but I was like, okay, I got to get that box set.
Did yours come okay? I've heard some of them have come.
Yeah, I double checked it right away, and like it looks good. I haven't opened it yet, but so far so good. I don't feel any dents. But yeah, I've heard some horror stories. So.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited. You know what? I got something. What was I going to? Where was it? Oh, one of the coolest thing. I mean, you guys might think not think it's that cool, but I got Nicholas Roeg's Walkabout. And this is from Second Sight in the UK. I mean, look at this. It's got books in it. I love Nicholas Roeg.
I don't know that one.
This is the same company that's putting out Dawn of the Dead in 2 weeks.
Right. But I've never heard of Walkabout. So
it's Jenny Agutter. Yep. And it's a great film. I'm a huge Nicholas Roeg fan, so I had to.
And I know we had another super chat flying here. Adam Wolford again. Thank you so much. If they think James Bond is problematic, then don't tell them Dean Martin's take on Bond. Talk about being triggered massive heart attack.
Matt Helm.
Oh, that's funny. I just picked up Dean Martin's greatest hits today. I think it was.
Well, one thing you're gonna love, Tom, is there's a documentary on how they made From Russia with Love, which will blow your mind.
Yeah, again, I'm gonna have to. I want to get the Blu-rays for the special features, but I'll wait till like Christmas time this year when it's on sale. I'll get it for dirt cheap because I showed Rob and I'm like, there's 2 different box sets they just brought out in July, and the other one's like $100 more just for 1 extra disc. That's it. That's the only difference.
Oh yeah, no, the 50th anniversary one comes with all the special features.
The nice big gold box that.
Yeah, I seen that one too, and that one's going for like 200 something right now. So I'll try and find one at I got a lot of places I snoop around. I got like resale shops and stuff. I'll find one. I ain't too worried about it. I just want to see the movies first and then dive into the world later if I have to. But yeah, that's just it. I myself feel embarrassed that I've never really watched one before. You know, not all the way through. The only one I remember is like the beginning of one of them had like skiing in it, and that's it. That's all I really remember.
I Love Me.
Yeah, you've got Spy Who Loved Me, Honor Majesty's Secret Service, and For Your Eyes Only. And
it had to be mid 80s because it would have been
not enough.
It would have been whatever the new one was in the mid 80s.
Well, that'd be For Your Eyes Only, and that has a great ski sequence in it.
Yeah.
And I just remember watching that on video, and then my parents were like, "Get out of here, it's R-rated." Like, which is weird because they wouldn't let me watch shit like that, probably mainly because of like the sex scenes and stuff in it. But they didn't have no problem with me watching like Rambo and shit, which is weird.
And you had Lynn Holly Johnson coming from Ice Castles over to that movie. Sorry, it's a deep cut.
No, I can't wait to check them out. I'm actually excited. I was pretty excited about it. Like I said, I told Rob and Andre, and they're like, "Oh yeah," and then I got a hold of you, and everything just seemed to work out. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. Willie Woodward says he wanted to say hi. Chat didn't seem to come through. Hi, Mecca. Looked nice earlier in your chill mode. Your Muppets discussion was dope. Yeah, we talked a little bit about Muppets up front. I don't know if you heard this article where they're saying Muppets has a man problem. Basically.
Yeah, I read that. You know what? I didn't read. I have that up to read today. I was like, come on, really?
Well, they're out of stuff to complain about.
No, I said Muppets has a Disney problem. They don't have a man problem. They need to get the fuck away from Disney.
I think everything needs to.
Yeah, at this point. I mean, like I said, if it was Michael Eisner era, he would have known what to do with the Muppets, or at least would have given him a shot at things that were Muppet-like. Like, whatever they're trying to do with them anymore is just change what the Muppets are, and it's just not working. So, but yeah.
That's, all of our franchises. Let's change what they are. Change them into something else.
Yeah, I said, and I was saying about how that 2011 movie was made. Jason Segel from How I Met Your Mother, he had written a script, and he was sitting on it, and he went into a meeting. It says, "Yeah, we love Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Yeah, we got a couple projects lined up for you." And he said, "No, I want to do the Muppets." And it took him 6 months to convince them to convince Disney to finally were like, "All right, go do your Muppet movie." And it was a pretty decent hit. I mean, it was made money. I mean,
when he loves, I mean, clearly, like in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, he wants to do that vampire Muppet musical that his character does, and he had such a genuine love for actually doing the Muppets when he got to do them. I mean, it was born out of his love of the franchise, and that's one of the times when somebody actually won because of they were obviously already a star, so they could leverage that into doing something they really loved, which I think that's kind of the way things should go. The same thing that Ryan Coogler did with Creed. His love of the Rocky franchise led him to be able to do Creed with Stallone. and you got something that was really cool.
If you love something, you're gonna want it to be good.
Mhm.
That's the thing.
Have you seen all the clips lately of Stallone putting together the Rocky IV director's cut?
No.
Oh man, he's going through that baby. Like, there's a bunch of clips out there of him going through it all, and they're trying to find all the clips and stuff he wants. He's like recutting the entire thing from scratch.
I love that. I think it'll probably be much better. I mean, I really have been enjoying. Like, I cannot wait to see Coppola. I've loved what Coppola did with Apocalypse Now and Cotton Club, and now he's doing it with Godfather 3.
You know, I'm looking forward to that because I hope he fixes some of the problems with that. I really do.
I mean, Godfather 3 is deeply flawed, but I've always been a fan. But I love what he's doing with it. I mean, it's interesting to see people go back and do that again.
Yeah, these are the kind of director's cuts or versions that I do love, where they actually do something that's worthwhile, going back and actually reworking everything. Like Stallone giving us a whole entire new version of Rocky, or this new version of Godfather 3 or Coda or whatever he's calling it now.
Yeah.
But either way, those are the things that make me excited because, like kind of like the Donner cut of Superman 2 was one of those two that got me going. And even the Snyder cut is, even though I'm not a big fan of the things we got from Snyder, I'm interested in seeing his take on this. I really am interested in seeing it pan out. And now we're hearing rumors that there may even be a Snyder Cut 2 or Justice League 2 or whatever you want to call it.
I mean, I think, again, we live in an age now, if people get to follow their bliss, I mean, and get to do with streaming services. I thought, Quentin Tarantino he reworked The Hateful Eight into 4-hour-long segments that they did for.
Yeah, I got to watch that yet.
Yeah, and I thought that was really, really cool, but it got, hardly any press. And I thought it was really interesting going back and watching it. And it's cool that people are, with these streaming services needing more content, they're allowing these kinds of things to happen.
Yeah, I want to watch that. I've been wanting to watch that for a while because I'm a huge Tarantino fan. And when I found out that existed, I'm like, wait, what? There's an extended version of Hateful Eight?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm there.
It's 8 hours long.
I'll take that. Ord's Board, thank you so much for coming in, buddy. Sends in $5. Says, thanks again for having me. We need to talk more Muppets. No joke, I can talk Muppets all day, and so could we. We will definitely have you back again real soon. Ord's know where he's there. But yeah, that's just, I like to see these cool new versions. Like, even in this box set, that's one of the only reasons I bought it, even though you can buy it separately, is it has the extended original version of Rambo Last Blood that was seen in other countries. As to why, I don't know if you caught our review of it at the time, but there was this back and forth between all of us kind of trying to figure out who saw what movie, because we didn't realize till after the review that two of us on the panel had seen a completely different cut of the movie.
Wow.
Because Andre and them are because we had Matt Kadish on and he didn't care
Rambo,
for the film
Last
so much.
Blood, right?
Yeah, and I liked it. But he's we got to a certain point where Andre's like, what movie did you see? Because that, and then we figured it out that there was a whole nother version that was in a lot of different countries and they cut it down for the US. So it was oh, okay. The whole beginning's missing and a bunch of stuff between the brothers is missing. And yeah, so I can't wait to check that all out. I watched a little bit of it before, but because it was free on Amazon for a while. I don't know if it still is or not. But
right.
Yeah, I love to see those kind of versions. Now, does it replace a great movie? No. Because there's a lot of times I'll tell you the theatrical version is good and it's better because that's the way it should be. There's a reason a lot of movies get cut down the way they are. But
yeah.
Now your movie, for instance, got taken away from you, right? Basically.
Hills Run Red? Well,
not that one, but I was thinking of the other one.
Free Enterprise?
Yeah.
No, it didn't get taken away. It did. Well, yes, it did at first, but then they went back to, they recut it without
they let
my
you
knowledge.
Do the director's cut.
But no, then I came back in and fixed because they took it up, they destroyed it. So we had already won festival awards and things. It was so silly. But I've never been happy with Free Enterprise. And to be honest, what I would like to do, because it's never come out on HD, I have recut what was there. And there's a few things that I want to go put into it. And I've just learned so much about editing that I could just make the movie better. I think the movie is it's lethargic, and the only way you can see it now is on streaming, and it's not even my preferred version of the movie that's out there. So I've actually recut the whole movie. It's not every scene is different, but it's just subtle. If people like the movie, they wouldn't notice anything, but it would feel better. I think the movie would feel better, but I need to get in. You need to get into the negative, and the problem is it's to do a 4K transfer now. It's expensive. you're talking about $100,000. And
I
it's
didn't think it was that much, but
it is. If you're going back and for an independent movie, the guy who owns it, Mark Gottwald, who paid for it. I would love to be able to go to him and buy it.
I know you've been talking about working out, hopefully, and I hope you do because
I mean, I would really like to do it, and I think the movie would, because it's kind of forgotten, and it's interesting. There's things in the movie that, like, there's a joke in the I call it a joke, but we made the movie in 98. And we're still big Woody Allen fans. And, Woody Allen back then had been exonerated of the sexual abuse he was accused of by Mia Farrow. And so there's a joke in the movie where Eric McCormack says, he's commenting about Rosemary's Baby, and Mia Farrow stars in Rosemary's Baby. And one of the guys, it's coming out on Laserdisc. And again, Eric McCormack says, I love Rosemary's Baby. Rosemary Woodhouse raped by the devil. She had it coming after what the bitch put Woody through. And it's like, now in our goofy little geek movie, that line would go, and I went to a film festival and a woman took me to task for that back in 1999. But I can only imagine now people would scream for my head on a pike.
Right.
For that, because back then, Woody Allen had been accused of this thing and been exonerated by 2 different states. They found no evidence of any kind of sexual abuse, and now it's taken for granted. Everyone thinks Woody Allen's guilty.
Well, not only that, it's a character saying it though too. That's the other thing they got to understand. Because if I remember right, this coming out of the character that was more like the Randall type character, where he's a bit more obnoxious. Okay, now that makes sense. See. That's what I'm saying. Like,
but it's still
Farrow cheat on Woody Allen with Sinatra.
Well, there's a whole lot of fucking shit. Yeah, we're not going to get down that road.
Yeah, I don't want. But
a long rabbit hole.
Yeah, I mean, even though we made the movie like 22 years ago, it came out 21 years ago. Even then, it's problematic, and I wonder, because it's a movie about, it's kind of forgotten. Not many people ever saw it anyway. And to see where geek culture has gone, because there's been so many things like Big Bang Theory and fanboys and all of these things. We were after Kevin Smith, but we were sort of before all these other geek touchstones.
Right.
So it would be really interesting to see, especially now. I mean, there's a lot of people that I've worked with in the movie pundit space that hate me anyway.
Well, and I think Kevin Smith
saw this movie, they'd really hate my guts.
I think Kevin Smith's brought it up in a positive way in the past too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, he has. I used to write. He had a website for a while called Movie Poop Shoot.
Yep.
And I wrote a column for him, Rob's Retinal Fetish. It was a short-lived column, but it was about home video and stuff.
Short story for those who don't know. Of course, if you recognize the name, it's because it's in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. But here's the deal. If you have anything with .com or whatever after it in a movie or a TV show, you have to make sure that the website is not owned by anybody else, and if it isn't, then you have to actually make it a real website.
Yep.
So that's why Kevin made moviepoopshoot.com a real thing.
It was a really great website for a while. There's a lot of really good people, like Jeff Wells, who I was on call. He wrote for it. I couldn't believe that Jeff Wells was writing for it, but there was a lot of really great people. Chris Ryle, who's over at IDW Comics, really was the editor there, and there was a lot of really good people that wrote for that site. It's really interesting because when you think about modern geek culture now, it really has evolved. I mean, over the last, Harry Knowles was obviously the first, and Ain't It Cool News was one of the biggest.
And that's kind of what it was making fun of, I think.
I know, absolutely. And now it's changed. I mean, I think all the discourse, what people forget, everybody bitches and moans and complains about different factions of people on the web, but at least the dialogue is much more elevated now. Absolutely. The discourse is pretty interesting. I mean, it's so funny. I love that we have all these different voices out on the web. I think it's great,
Absolutely. And Orville Nation, another great channel who Script was on just before this, sends in $10, says, "Hey, Midnight's Edge family, great panel." Well, thank you so much, Orville Nation. We need to have you on back again as well, speaking of. But yeah, no, I mean, it's a great film. I liked it. I remember seeing it back in the day on Stars, I believe it was. And I had it taped for years. And then, I picked up the director's cut on DVD, and it's in boxes right now. All my shit's so as soon as I get moved to my new place, which is hopefully in about a week, I'll be able to get all my stuff out of boxes I'll be able to actually get caught up on some things. So I'm long overdue on telling you how I feel about the extended cut of that, which I finally picked up. But yeah.
Oh yeah, it's much better, but still, it still needs to be. I put clips. If people have never seen Free Enterprise, I've put clips of the movie on my YouTube page on the Burnett Work. If you just go to videos, you'll see it, and I numbered them, and you watch them in order of the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or something, and you get a sense of what the movie is. But those are my recut versions. So,
well, speaking of clips, I saw the clip you put up last night of Tango Shalom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and let me tell you, I'm looking forward to this to seeing the whole thing.
Well, thank you. Yeah, people want to look. It'll appeal to your grandmother. It really is. It's a sweet, old-fashioned movie, and I'm really proud of it because I worked on it for 4.5 years, and it's one of those independent labor of love movies. But nobody had seen it. Has gotten in. I'll tell you this. I can't say which ones, but it's been getting into film festivals, and we've been targeting mostly Jewish film festivals because obviously it's about a Hasidic rabbi that wants to dance the tango, and he does so with Karina Smirnoff from 20 Seasons of Dancing with the Stars. But it's my grandmother would have loved it. She's smiling down on me, going, "Finally, a movie I can watch that you've been involved with." But
it doesn't have all those dirty words.
Yeah, or rapes and monsters and
oh yeah, and not to mention because Hills. I got to watch that yet too. I got to check all that shit out.
Man, I showed that to my girlfriend for the first time, and she was not happy.
Oh shit! She's like, "What am I with?" No.
Yeah, she was not, because it's not fun horror. It's kind of hard. She was not happy.
I'm trying to. I think I saw it years ago, but I'm not sure. So I don't want to say for sure if I have yet before I watch it again.
But at the same time, though, Tango Shalom, it's a type of story that's a very human story. It appeals to you. You can appreciate it on a very kind of human level from what you described. Yeah, because we've all been conflicted at different times about different things. And it shows that people, even with people who have unshakable faith, they also go through conflicts.
Right. Well, I'm glad it's funny because the clip that I put up is one of my favorite scenes in the movie, where this rabbi, this Hasidic rabbi goes to a mosque to talk to an imam about, everyone in his own community is telling him he can't dance the tango because he's a Hasidic Jew. So he goes and talks to an imam. He goes and talks to other spiritual leaders and asks, well, what do you think? Should I do this or not? And the conversation is the imam says that. And I really like that scene because the movie is definitely an interfaith movie. And while it's fun, it's a comedy and a family. I've said that it's an indie Jewish spiritual quest family dance comedy fable. And,
very high concept.
Yeah. And I go, because the box office is clamoring for another one of those.
Hey, but you know what? In this day and age, you actually got probably more of a captive audience than you would have if the theaters were open. You know, so take advantage of it while you guys can. I'm clamoring for you guys, and I hope it works out.
It'll be interesting to see. You work on the funny thing about that movie is it truly was an indie film from top to bottom, and I worked on it. I'm a producer. I edited the film. I was the post-production supervisor, and I was the visual effects supervisor. It was so funny. And I said to people, I go, when we started cutting it, I go, wouldn't it be great if we had a digital matte painting of Israel, but it looked like a matte painting that was done in the 50s? And they're like, well, yeah. I go, I know the guy who can do that. So
there you go.
So it was and I go, wouldn't it be great if the Moses character got struck by lightning here? And they're like, well, yeah, that would be good. And I go, I know the guy that can. He's the same guy actually. And they had to do all this. When you make a movie and you have to put something on television, it's an effect shot. You don't usually shoot things that are on the TV. You have to do it later. And they didn't understand how much visual effects work is involved in doing that. And so I was able to get all that stuff done. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, my handprints are all over that movie, and it was fun.
Cool. But one of the other things I always say, for a lot of people, I mean, that is a movie that you can grab onto. And I always say about the whole thing about movie making is you don't, I can't afford to make this make a big movie with all this money. No. Just make a movie. Get your friends together, whatever, people go look for actors at a local theater company, and you can make that type of movie relative. I don't want to say relatively
Just
easy,
make sure you got a strong script.
Yeah, it's with more reach, and that's the kind of movies we kind of need now in order. Yeah, well, and get them used to the idea of making movies.
I totally like right now. I'm throwing a film festival on my YouTube channel.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, and there was a guy, like, it's been really interesting because a lot of people have sent me movies they made years ago, and I'm still playing them. But I kind of, when I conceived of it, I thought what I wanted to do is get people to make like little fun, not TikTok videos, but I thought people would make a little bit more elaborate TikTok videos. And there's one guy who made this movie called Confidence. And it was exactly the kind of thing that I thought would happen when I did this. And he basically, it's a guy who wants to go out with this girl, and he ends up talking to like different aspects of himself, kind of like Inside Out or something. And they're in his dorm room and he's having a conversation. And I thought it was really kind of clever, you know, that he did it and clearly shot it. He heard about the festival and shot it and made it.
Well, you're showing this on Christmas, right?
Well, no, all the movies.
I mean,
they're all, yeah, but they're all the final semifinalists are going to be on, but they're all available to watch on my YouTube channel right now.
Okay, yeah,
and they're all over the place. I mean, they're all different kinds of movies, and it's been really interesting to see what people do. And people have been sending me pictures. I think we're accepting entries until December 1st. So anybody, if you've ever wanted to make a movie, if you're out there making TikTok videos or something, I would say anybody who wants to make something, send it in, because there are no right answers. And I've been surprised at the films that have come in so far. It's been a lot of fun, but there have been people that have really planned things out, and I expect to get some more elaborate movies in the next month.
Nice,
which is kind of cool.
And back on the Bond thing, the aptly titled Mr. Wolverine 007 sends in $5. Says, speaking of Woody Allen and Bond, don't forget he played Bond's son in a movie too. That's right, Jimmy Bond.
Jim in Casino Royale.
Yeah.
The nephew, actually. Yeah.
Well, and actually, speaking of Bond, since we have you here, Robert, I think this is a nice time, since we haven't got a chance to really talk about it on our channel yet. Rob did a little bit on World Class Bullshitters, but of course, we got some sad news over the weekend.
Yeah.
And this kind of prompted a lot of this. And that was, we lost the original icon, a legend, Sir, Sean Connery passed away at the age of 90. And I would love to just hear, especially you and Rob, your guys is, and in script, I'm sure too, has some memories too. But I mean, I know you guys are a little older than us, and he was your guys' Bond. I mean, what how did that hit you guys? Let's start with you, Robert.
Well, when I was a kid, there were two people that I wanted to be when I grew up, and one was James Tiberius Kirk, and the other was Sean Connery's James Bond. And it was I love, to me, Sean Connery he wasn't acting, he was inhabiting, he was James Bond. And then as I got older, I always appreciated, he worked with Hitchcock, obviously, and Marnie. I loved crazy John Borman's Zardoz, where he plays Zed, the brutal from the enforcer from the post-apocalyptic landscape, and the immortals find him and he teaches them how to die. That crazy science fiction film, 74. He was in one of my favorite movies of all time, which is The Man Who Would Be King, where he stars in it with John Huston, directed it, and he's in it with Michael Caine. And then he would show up in guilty pleasures like Meteor, the movie Meteor. In the 80s, he was in movies like Name of the Rose and The Untouchables, of course. And in 1990, Marco Ramius is in Hunt for Red October. And then even later in life, in the 90s, when he was in Philip Kaufman's Rising Sun, which is the adaptation of the Crichton book, and then even doing things like Entrapment with Catherine Zeta-Jones. I mean, I don't think Sean Connery was the kind of actor, I was talking about this earlier today on John Campy's show. He was never one of our great thespians. Like, he's not Laurence Olivier. He's not Robert De Niro, but he, as John said, he belongs in Valhalla. Like, he was one of these men that just embodied he had a certain swagger and just a charisma. And he lit up the screen, like when he's in The Rock and Michael Bay's The Rock, you're best. You go, best.
Right.
Everyone's always whining. Losers are always whining about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. You know, that was only Sean Connery could deliver a line like that. And he had a swagger to him. Even, I mean, if you look at him in Rising Sun and you look at him in Entrapment, he was an older guy, but he's got Catherine Zeta-Jones and Tia Carrere. And I mean, he could get the job done. And he just, he had a physicality and a maleness to him that was unapologetic. And it was larger than life, and it filled the screen. And he was somebody I liked to watch my whole life and still do.
Yeah. Rob?
I was on mute. Hang on, I had something on another thing. Yeah, You wanted to be Sean Connery. I wanted to be Sean. There were two people I wanted to be. You wanted to be Kirk and Connery. I wanted to be actually Paul McCartney and Sean Connery.
Right.
Those are my two. Yeah. Yeah. We see how well that worked out. But
I was gonna make the joke for you, but you didn't go.
Still time.
If it makes you feel any better, Rob, you're my McCartney to my Lennon.
I thought I was your Cheech to your Chong.
It works both ways.
But anyway, to me, like Sean Connery in the portrayal of 007 was the epitome of masculinity. I mean, and it was always something you strive towards. You were never going to achieve it, but you always would strive toward it. You know, he knew several languages, had a knowledge of fine wines. He was confident, thinks on his feet, drove cool cars, goes to places we could only dream of going. Again, coming back to that whole idea of the middle class. And
he can play a Spaniard, and no one cared.
Exactly.
An Egyptian and a person trying to pretend to be Chinese in that one Bond movie.
Actually, he had a knowledge, a wide range of firearms, knew how to fly helicopters and operate all kinds of cool things. You know, always had the coolest stuff, well dressed, and I was just so let down that over the years that we went from Sean Connery to Seth Rogen as being like a masculine icon. It just was like such a letdown, but it's always that thing. Like when you grow up, like, yeah, nothing's going to be cool. When you, like I said, well, the first time I went to Europe, I went to Sweden, and you get out of the van, and the section town called Gamla Stan, and it's like walking into a Bond movie. And that was the first thing. That's all I could think about was I'm finally get to live part of a Bond movie. You know, you see the old lights suspended over the streets with wires, and I'm like, yes, this is what I've always wanted to see. Right. And then when I was in Copenhagen, there was a DB6 parked on the side of the road. I'm like, yes, it's finally come true.
So Script Doctor. Oh, go ahead, Rob. I thought you were done. My bad.
No, but it's just like I said. It's one of those things that sort of shapes your worldview. And no, it sounds kind of corny to say, but it does. It really does. It shapes your worldview. So this is the correct temperature to drink Bollinger champagne. So this is the type of caviar you're. So this is how you play baccarat. And it was always it was always that you learn. It was more important that you learn these things. Granted, you probably should learn it elsewhere, but I mean, but you would always find, as you said, you always see something new. You always find out something new, and you take that knowledge. And even like in Live and Let Die, there's two ways to kill a crocodile. One is to stuff a pencil into the pressure hole behind its head. I was like, okay, yeah, mental note. If I'm ever trapped in a hungry crocodile, say 9.
Mr. Wolverine 007 says, I always regarded Sean Connery in The Rock as a love letter to Bond, and kind of like his goodbye to the fans of his Bond. Now, there's a popular fan theory, which, Rob, I know we are not a big fan of fan theories, but this is one that does kind of make sense, that his character is actually Bond who's been put in Alcatraz because he knew too much. Do you guys buy into that one? And then
I kind of like the idea, the spirit of that idea.
Yeah.
Like, certainly if he's not Bond, but a character like a Bond, that. But Rob, I think I wanted to speak to what you were saying too about, he does represent an era. I think one of the problems that we have nowadays is that there aren't people, there aren't that kind of masculinity. Is not only is it sort of missing, but it's been vilified, you know, in our present culture. And like you said, we get Seth Rogen. I mean, I like Seth Rogen; he's funny and all that, but you know, the character of James Bond is a guy, and Sean Connery too. You know, like he's a post World War II. He might have been a soldier that fought. I don't know if Sean Connery was old enough to fight in World War II, but maybe he did. That this kind of male iconic figure has been sort of unfortunately bled out of our culture. And it's sort of too bad, because if the world's going to come to an end and we don't have anybody left like Sean Connery, who's going to save us?
Well, it's like reverse everything used to be. It's like, you know, whatever your choice is, it's okay unless it's that. It's like, okay, well, why is that all of a sudden the problem? You know, I think it's like it used to be, we need to find a way of tolerance and equality. I thought we got there, but now it's become, no, white men are the problem. You know, the straight white male masculinity issue is a problem. I mean, they're even starting to attack like the nuclear family in a way, or the standard family. And it's like, nobody ever said that, you know, you could do what you want to do in your house under your own roof and raise your family the way you wanted. Nobody's saying that. But why all of a sudden are you turning the guns on us? It's like, what the fuck did I do?
We don't want to put a pronoun in our bio doesn't mean we got to be against you doing it.
And I see that as the same thing coming after Bond. It's like, why is it? And again, it goes to that whole thing with, you know, it's problematic. We got to come in and change it. It's like, no, Bond is Bond for a reason. You can call him a misogynistic dinosaur, but that's the whole point, is you need that misogynistic dinosaur because the world's about to fucking end. You know, and nobody else can handle this job other than him, because, you know, the new double O's you brought in are a bunch of soy boys, you know, or something to that effect. You know, that's the whole point of this, is like, that's the same thing with like Clint Eastwood and these kind of guys. You know, sometimes you got to go to that kind of a guy because you have no other choice. And that's what pissed me off about The Last Jedi, is I thought that was kind of the whole thing they should have done with Luke, you know?
Wouldn't it be funny though, Tom, if it says, Blofeld's at it again. Where's 002? Oh, he's in therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, what about 003?
He's in a safe space right now.
Well, he needs to go and save the day, or we can get a man to actually do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're living in a world where we're denying the fact that there's an actual world out there that needs to be dealt with. And you now, and again, a part of it is that before, you could look at a guy like Sean Connery and James Bond, and as a kid, I would admire that character. And now, you know, want to grow up and be. Bond was, if you think about his other qualities, he knew a lot about a lot of stuff. Like he was like MacGyver, and he knew physics, he knew science, he knew what temperature to drink Bollinger at for the perfect champagne. He knew which caviar to eat. He was a man of the world. He wore bespoke suits. You know, he knew all of his weapons. I mean, he was a man that knew a lot of things about a lot of stuff. So when he got into situations, he was able to improvise and do what needed to be done to get the job done. Now there's nobody like that anymore. They're going to tell you why the job shouldn't have to be done in the first place, and why, you know, it infringes on my rights if you did that job. And it's too bad, because you wonder, what society do you want to live in? I mean, I understand, like you said, Tom, we were on our way to protecting people's rights. You know, we did have more inclusion happening than ever before, and we were getting more inclusive every day. And now we live in this weird fascist nightmare where everybody thinks and they want what they want right now, without any understanding of how evolution and nature and how things progress and work in the real world. And it's really strange, because I mean, it makes me think that everybody needs mandatory military service, and whether it's military or social, go out in the world and find out what the real world is like, and instead of what you just want reading social media all day long.
Well, and a prime example is the day this man died, they had to go after him again for things he said in the past, you know, like the famous Barbara Walters interview and shit like that. It's like, come on. He was raised in a different time. Now, granted, I think he's even come to say that those things are things he probably wouldn't say now and stuff like that. I'm not 100% sure.
Can we
but
dance on some
regardless,
of these little soy boys' graves just for being miserable little pricks? I mean, I'm getting tired of them. I'm really, really getting tired of these people because, I mean, and sure, I've got a pretty controversial take on this too. I'm like, well, I'm not super affected by a death of a celebrity that I didn't know personally. I mean, it's obviously a sad thing if you're really, really attached, but I'm not out there just saying, oh, and good, he's dead, and blah blah blah, and yada yada. Like, there's something really, really wrong with people.
One less white masculine, or one, all kind of like that kind of shit. And
yeah. There's something really, really wrong with people when you can kind of go from, like us saying, oh yeah, soy boy, or these little weak people, to actively being happy that people are dead and actively wishing people were dead on some of these other instances, like the chick who wished William Shatner were dead. There's like all of this stuff where it's like, okay, keep like, just step the violence down, step the bitter hatred down, just a smidgen, because you're kind of starting to sound like me, and I'm crazy.
Well, in script now, I want to get your opinion, because I know you're a huge Bond fan, and again, I know you're closer to my age, but again, how did Sean Connery's Bond affect you growing up?
I mean, I really liked him, but I never got over the fact that Bond is incredibly lucky. Like, just as a character, like, there's so much working against him, even though he has these skills and knowledge, that his success is really more out of luck as opposed to pure skill. And I actually liked that because that felt kind of real within the situation. Like, the only reason our species kind of survives is he's successful all the way up until like that climax, and then something happens, and it's like, okay, this is where the balls are hanging just above the razor's edge, so to speak, and something else happens, and it just ends up being, holy crap, he survived. It's lucky. Everything went off as it should. He should be dead, but he's not. It's great. Sean Connery, well, I mean, I liked his performance a lot. My favorite Bond is George Lazenby, but that's a different story altogether. But I really like Sean Connery because he was one of the he was like a brand actor. Like, even though he had different performances and stuff, you always recognized him as Sean Connery. You never really felt like he was someone else. And he kind of leaned into that and sold it and made it his brand, like the days of old Hollywood actors of the 40s and 50s. Like, you saw a Sean Connery movie, you knew who you were going to get as Sean Connery, but it was the choices that he would take in the character that would be what made it sort of different. Like, you don't recognize him at all as Zed in Zardos. Right. Like, it's Sean Connery, but you don't really recognize him as Sean Connery. And then same thing for Highlander. He's Ramirez. He's the Egyptian. He's the guy who shouldn't have the Scottish accent as a Highlander, but he does. But it still works for what it is, because it's not really like he's still giving us a performance, but he's relying on what his brand is, especially in The Hunt for Red October. Same type of thing there. Always good performances, always good confidence and demeanor when it's needed to be. And he's never been not fun to watch, even in some of the movies that are a little bit less popular. So I personally, I mean, it's sad to see him go, but he lived to 90. Not a lot of people get to live to 90. He had a life that I'm certain he had regrets, but he definitely made the best of it as he could. I feel for his family for his loss, but we know, there's a lot of success there, so he should be celebrated. And the absence can be painful, but man, he left an impact on our pop culture and on a lot of people who loved his work.
Well, and I don't know if I didn't know this was true. If it is, Cavatino Shea brings up that Fleming actually added Connery's heritage to the character.
Yeah, to a point. He basically said he rewrote James Bond to be Scottish. I know that.
The best story, though, I always remember, and I always say this about, I always like repeating this, when he was first cast as James Bond, they took Sean Connery down to Savile Row, had a suit made for him, and said, okay, you're going to go home and sleep in it, because this will become your second skin from now on. So you better get used to it. So, which is great. Yeah, because you always think of him in that suit, in the, whether it's the gray suit or the white or the white jacket. I mean, it's just such a great and iconic look that, yeah, my brother actually had the white jacket for his wedding photo. He had the black, the black trousers and the white jacket. I mean,
did he have the red cummerbund and everything there, like the flower and all that?
Oh yeah, he went all
Nice.
out. The first song was supposed to be For Your Eyes Only, but it was but there was a problem with the DJ. So anyway, that's another story. But anyway, I mean, like I said, the whole thing, and I'm just dreading No Time to Die, because I'm like, please don't. This is all we've got left. This is don't ruin this too. And there's people that say, well, you know what, this shouldn't ruin your enjoyment of the previous ones. Yeah, but it's guilt by association. That's the other thing. I mean, it's part of the Bond legacy. I mean, and I just don't want to see that ruined any more than it has been.
Well, I mean, I'm hoping that with Cary Fukunaga, I mean, I love the first season of True Detective, and if he can bring some of that to Bond, because I liked Casino Royale, but the other Daniel Craig Bonds I have not liked very much, and I hope I'm gonna hold out hope that No Time to Die is a return to form. I just hate the fact that we can't see it. It's so frustrating to me.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they were already starting to ramp up the marketing. There was already commercials running when everything went into lockdown. I'm like, yeah, this seems kind of pointless now. But I just like, the more I read about it, I'm like, and more details, I'm like, oh no, there's a kid. Oh no, oh no. And just like, please, if there's one thing I don't want all the plot leaks to be true, it's to this. But
well, but if it's handled well. So I always I give them the benefit of the doubt. It's like, if it's done well, I hope it's not done. I mean, because the idea that Bond is going to retire, and he's because you can only do that work for so long. I kind of like the idea that he would do that. But what bothers me about the Craig Bond films is he never got to be James Bond. Yeah. He started out as Bond. He never got his own, like, I'm going out on a mission. A real Bond mission where he could be at the height of his power and really go do, Thunderball or whatever. He was always either he was starting out or now he was too old and he'd lost a step.
Well, it felt more like the assignments he fell into the assignment as opposed to being given an assignment. That was the other part, right? And it's like, well, no, you want that mission you want that moment where he walks by Miss Moneypenny, does his flirtation. M says, Bond, this is the problem. They were sending you here. Go solve it. But no, he's already like neck deep into it by the time M gets involved in the Craig films. And you're like, well, this doesn't feel, I mean, it's Bond-ish, but it doesn't feel exactly like Bond, right? So
right. Yeah, it's frustrating.
You want that moment where he walks into M's office. What do you know about Moonraker 007? Moonraker? Oh,
right.
It was the movie that nearly killed the franchise.
No, Moonraker did well. Monetarily.
It did well, but like all the 4 or 5 movies after it didn't do so well until like I think it was mid 80s. I think it finally picked back up. But yeah. Anyway, because we were looking at all the Bond films and how much they had made, and I did the inflation on the original films and how much they would have made now in comparison and stuff like that. So yeah.
But they always have that pattern of they start out very grounded in reality, and then they get outrageous, then they reel it back, and then they
pretty much it did really, really well up through Moonraker. Then it took a little bit of every movie after that didn't do as well up until
GoldenEye?
I don't know which one it was that they went back up again, but it was either when what's his face took over from Remington Steele or who was before him? Who was before him?
Well, Timothy Dalton.
Yeah, maybe that's when they went back up again. I can't remember now. You guys would probably know better than me, but I just remember we were looking at the box office overall, and it was funny because like the original movies with inflation made just as much or more than the fucking Daniel Craig movies, except for like one of them, which was that last one that made a lot of money.
Yeah, well, Skyfall made $1 billion.
I liked Skyfall when I first saw it, but now it's like, not so much.
Yeah, I flew to London to see it. I went to see Skyfall in London just to do a fun thing because it was the 50th anniversary Bond film, and I was so excited, and I really didn't like it. It's a movie where Bond fails repeatedly. He fails from the opening pre-title sequence to the end of the movie.
Yep. Well, he gets shot though.
One thing I learned during the CBS special, I got a show because you always see people with the cock with the like that, and they actually had a secret MI6 agent on 60 Minutes. He goes, no, that's wrong. We do it like this, stance forward, looking down the sight, both eyes open, and I'm like, so that's a proper way to shoot a gun. So again, we learned something.
Indeed,
yeah.
But anyhow, I'm sure Robert has a lot of shit to do because he's a busy man. But you definitely have to get back to me as soon as you can on when you think a good time we can probably plan to do these reviews are. And we'll let you guys know when that's going to happen. I'll plaster it all over Twitter and Facebook so you guys know.
Yeah.
Other than that, was there anything that you had to plug or anything going on besides the festival that you've already talked about?
Nope, just that. I mean, every day and then the doing the shows, and I'm gonna start another show with a guy in Germany. We're gonna do a physical media show, but it's gonna be pre-recorded, just a half an hour. We'll do a half an hour show every week.
Damn.
And
I want to get that one physical media show.
I know we got to do that. This is different.
Yeah. But yeah, that's something I've been wanting to get on. I need to reach out to that other person again and find out what's going on so we can get moving on that. So yeah.
I mean, the next 2 months is kind of going to be a YouTube free for all because what is there to do except talk?
Well, and the rumor is everything's getting shut down again, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's disappointing to see. I've been locked down since March 16th.
Right? Yeah,
we've been diligent about going to places and not wearing our masks and all that. I mean, you're out of the house for how long? Like, I go to the grocery store, I take hand sanitizer and wear a mask. So it's not a problem, not a big deal. Just take that and it's you look at the. One of the guys who watch my show all the time said that they're making the Wheel of Time series in Czechoslovakia and the Czech Republic.
Yep.
They've been postponed. They've been delayed. They're in the middle of production. They've been delayed 6 months because of how COVID is running rampant in the Czech Republic.
Maybe they can rewrite the script because the pilot's horrible.
Oh, is it?
Well,
really?
then you got all these movies that are shooting right now, but yet they're still pushing everything off. So I'm like sitting here starting to wonder, when are these movies that are shooting now ever going to get a chance to do anything with? They haven't even got all these other movies from this last year. I mean, 2020 is like the year that didn't happen. I mean, what's going to be funny is like the movies that are going to be nominated for Best Pictures, like Bad Boys 2, Sonic the Hedgehog, Bill and Ted Face the Music, and Tenet.
Mank's going to win.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Anyway.
It is depressing. No, it's just I feel like you said, it's like 2020 didn't happen. It's so bizarre. And you think about the fact that, look, I know through history, I didn't live through World War II or anything like that. There's been a lot of more horrible periods of time. And if you lived hundreds of years before us, life was much harder than it is now. But be that as it may, I can only judge on how I live my life now. And I have to say, I resent as I have more days behind me than I have in front of me when a year like this just disappears. You can't help but resent the fact that it's your life. Your life has been put on hold, and how much more of your life do you have? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I just want to go to the goddamn movie theaters and see it. I just want to see a movie in the theater. I want to eat popcorn. I want to drink my wine. I want to see in the big theater. I had my favorite seats in my favorite theater to see No Time to Die last April, and that's all. And I haven't been able. It hasn't come out yet. It's unbelievable to me.
Yeah,
I just want to go to a movie theater, man. I want to sit next to people I don't know. I want to hear them laugh and clap and cheer and.
Well, and it's like we were supposed to go to Vegas next month. I'm not even sure that's going to happen now. I mean, I'm sure some people might be able to go, but I'm just not sure.
Well, the problem is you can't trust anybody else. Everyone's like, "Oh, there's only one. It's half a percentage point where it's not that fair." Yeah, but I mean, you don't want to risk it. But they're talking about, we're going to lose 400,000 people by the end of this year.
Right. And I mean, I don't want to get too far into that weeds, but no, it's like when we need to try and get back to some kind of normal.
Yeah, we do.
At some point. I mean,
don't you think if people are really, really scared of it, like that's absolutely within their rights? And I've never heard anybody say, if you're absolutely scared of it, stay home, take precautions. But you've got like the rest of us who are like, you know what? I mean, I'll take my chances, maybe, you know, until they cancel me for saying it. But
yeah, and you
like,
also
you can't just go around like how can you like weigh all of the you know negative impacts of you know economic stuff and everything against a human life? You really can't. You can't justify that. There's really no way to, other than, well, how many lives are impacted. But then you're still, no matter what you do, you come off sounding like a jerk, no matter which side you kind of take. It almost seems like this is a Star Trek scenario. What's the no-win? What's the best way to save as many people as possible in the best way to do that, to make as many people happy as possible, you know? How do we do that as intelligent, reasonable people?
Well, I think that's the big problem, is nobody's being intelligent or reasonable.
Well, because we've all been in lockdown and are going
No, I know.
crazy.
It's not like, you know, yeah.
All
I
of
mean,
us.
it's one of those things
really.
where, yeah.
It's all of us. I mean, you see it on the newscasters, the politicians, the actors. I mean, Gal Gadot snapped after 6 days and started singing Imagine. Like the world was going to end. I mean, I think everybody's kind of gone a little crazy.
Well, this is what happens though when you, like George Carlin said, you know, you raise selfish, narcissistic people. This is what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have, you know, rugged individualism. I'm like, what? But you take a look at Japan. They've had.
Well, they're nicer there, though.
Yeah, but they have more of a willingness to go along with you know making sacrifices for a common good. 90,000 cases total, 1,600 deaths in a nation of 140 million.
Yep. That's insane. And look at how closely packed they are in their urban environments.
With no lockdowns.
Well, they also, the good thing about Japan, like I said, they're more courteous, and they'll wear the masks when they have a cold just to keep it from spreading too, because they know, and they're more equipped because they're used to dealing with whatever virus comes over from wherever, because they are in the East and they're used to being a very densely packed society. You know, they're just used to, oh yeah, be quiet on the bus, you know, be quiet on the train, don't bother other people, don't get in other people's space, and that's just kind of the culture of, you know, minding your own business and being respectful of others. And I don't think we have that culture here.
You know, when this first started spreading, and somebody from Los Angeles, I don't remember who it was. It was a Facebook comment or whatever. It said, "Oh, you New Yorkers and your arrogance." I'm like, and you know, you're spreading the virus. I'm like, listen, I'm like, arrogance has nothing to do with it. I'm like, have you ever ridden a subway? No. I'm like, okay, fine. You don't know how tightly packed in people are on the subway. And we'll find another way to get to work. I'm like, there's no other way in New York to get to work than the subway. You take the subway or a bus. That's it. I'm like, yeah, it's just amazing. Like I said, I don't want to call it myopia, but that's the only term that I think describes it. There's this myopic worldview a lot of people have, even within this country as to other parts of the country. No, this is how you do. This is how people do things in New York, as opposed to Los Angeles, as opposed to Dallas, Texas, as opposed to Seattle.
Look at Brie Larson, though. Like Tom always says, she comes from this place of privilege her entire life. Therefore, she feels everybody has it.
Yeah. That's white privilege is to her. Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you're raised like that and that's all you've got in your whole life, I'm sure it's easy to believe that you have nothing but white privilege. And I just seen her recent video where she's talking with her best friend or something like that. And the way in the questions and stuff that they're talking about, it's just some of the most narcissistic shit on her behalf I've ever seen in my life. So it's obvious she's somebody who's been raised where she's the center of attention her whole life too. And you can tell.
How do I know this? Will get back to Brie Larson.
Because she's just people. She just wants to play people.
It's Captain People.
And I just play people.
Because she's a perfect example of, I think, what we've idolized. Like not us, like specifically, but we as kind of humanity have idolized. I mean,
it's still
just look at our culture with the whole celebrity culture. People just blindly listen to everything they say and do, and it's just to their detriment a lot of the time. And this is why I've been calling them out for how long. And yeah, I get a little brutal, but
yeah,
I'll just leave it this. It still infuriates me that when Stan Lee died, thinking about Stan, and she was drinking a mojito or whatever it was,
showing off her shoes and her bag that matched and all that shit.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, you had to make it all about you, didn't you? You couldn't put a picture of you and Stan Lee. No, you had to make it all about you.
Absolutely. And again, like we were wrapping up here, so I don't want to drag this out too much longer, but do check out the Burnett work. Check out Robert's website as well. If you haven't seen Robert's show, What's Wrong With You? He has basically one of the best shows on YouTube right now when it comes to discussing pop culture and all the news going on and the happenings and the letters you get from all the listeners and all that stuff is great. And I try to catch it whenever I can. I even try to catch up with it when I can't catch it live.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I do my best. And I know Rob watches all the time as well. So I know we're fans, and I'm sure Script and Mecca have caught you from time to time as well. I know Script.
Oh, yeah, I catch him on my commutes.
I was going to say, I know Script.
By the way, I want to give a shout out to Az, Heel versus Babyface.
Oh, love Az, yes.
You know, we've been doing a deep dive into Patrick McGowan's TV series, The Prisoner. And we're on the home stretch almost.
There you go.
We got like 3 or 4 episodes left, right?
Well, yeah, I think 3 we've got. Yes, or 4 if you include the end, the Fallout episode. But yeah, it's been fun because of this channel. You know, because of you guys, I met him that way.
Well, and I thank you for being there. I mean, that's the thing is, you're never against talking nerd stuff. I mean, you've always treated us like, we're friends and not just, these guys that are these little YouTubers that I shouldn't, waste my time on.
And likewise, I mean, first and foremost, I've been a fan my whole life. I mean, that's what I am. I mean, that's what I've always been. And if you guys give me a venue to come and talk about stuff that I love this.
I mean, I've watched your stuff for years. I mean, I've known you've been involved in certain things, and I knew who you were when all this stuff. And it's like, wait, that's the guy who did, Free Enterprise. Like, I know that guy. It's like, and I seen you on, Collider and all that stuff. And when you used to do stuff with, Schnepp and stuff like that. Because of course I adored John Schnepp, and I can't imagine what it was like knowing him and being his friend. So like, he seemed like the biggest teddy bear in the world.
Well, what was fun? I mean, growing up here, moving down here, and I've been in LA for a little over 30 years now, but coming down moved down here when I was 21. And the community of people that lived here, and I call them there's the Hollywood nerds, and watching all of us sort of grow up and meet each other, and a lot of people work in the entertainment business. Like one of my good friends I don't see much of anymore, but he runs like The Flash for Greg Berlanti, Eric Wallace. I mean, I met him going to conventions here, and you'd see each other you were at the Dario Argento screening last month. Yeah, man, we should get together. Okay. And watching all of these people, we're all just, first and foremost, we were all just fans, that happen to move here and work in the entertainment business. And most people are kind of the same, they get too busy, but I know a lot of really great people that have worked in the entertainment business for 25 years, and they're first and foremost, they're just lifelong fans.
Well, I'll tell you right now, there's only been 2 people in my life who have complimented my editing, aside from Andre, that it meant a lot to me, and I know you can understand why. Besides you, it was Robert Shea.
Wow.
So, yeah, between you two telling me that, it's like that means the most, because I know you two know editing probably better than anybody I know. And even Tom McLaughlin to a point, because I'm sure he's done a lot of editing too, but like you two mean more to me than that, because I know you've edited so many things. And the same thing, Robert has had his hand in everything. I mean, he is, I can't say enough shit about Robert Shea. I mean, he's the Robert Shea. I mean,
he was the man. I don't know if I said this before, but the one story that when I worked on the Lord of the Rings,
you did, but I want you to tell it anyway.
Oh, well, Peter, he was the man. So okay. Peter Jackson was going to make 2 Lord of the Rings movies for Miramax, for the boys at Miramax. Yes, indeed. Harvey Weinstein. And they decided not to go forward. And Weta was already working on stuff. They were building armor and creating. So they said that told Peter Jackson he can shop the project around, go wherever he wants. And Miramax just wanted a $50 million. They wanted their $50 million investment back and a part of the project, but no studios bit. even though Peter Jackson had this videotape he was showing, or maybe it was a DVD of all the work that was being done, and nobody bit. And the last person he was going to see was Robert Shea. And Robert Shea was the head of New Line. It was his company, and they knew each other. They were friendly. And Peter Jackson goes in, and if Bob Shea doesn't bite, he's got to shut the whole thing down. There's going to be no more Lord of the Rings. There never would have been a Lord of the Rings movie. And so Peter Jackson makes this presentation, shows the 5-minute sizzle reel or whatever. And when the lights come up, Bob Shea looks at Peter Jackson and says, "Wait a minute, you're going to make 2 movies for Miramax?" And Peter Jackson's like, "Yes." He goes, "But there are 3 Lord of the Rings books." and
he told this story on our interview. Yeah.
Oh, did and yeah, that's what he said. And what I've always wanted to know is, what is it that he saw at that moment in watching that 5-minute sizzle reel that he was willing to bet his entire company,
Listen
his
to our
entire
interview.
future?
He actually says mainly it's because it was 3 books. He knew the books. He knew it was a grand slam. It's Lord of the fucking Rings. He's like, if there was 5 books, I'd have made 5 movies. And he's like, it's a great interview. He gives some real he's like, because basically he said the entire company was against him on it.
Yeah.
And he's like, we had this surplus of money, because like what he would do was, and this is what's genius about Robert Shea, is he built this whole company on pre-selling all his movies.
Yep.
And so they had the surplus of stuff, like he had all the movie pre-sold already in every other country. He had all this money, so like they were like, you're gonna bury the company and all this shit. It's like, if the first movie flopped, we would have been fine. It was prepaid for. And the second and third film, we would have made the money back on video. He wasn't really worried about it, was basically what he said. And he had more than enough, like, just this vision and this idea that this was going to be big. He didn't think it was going to be as big as it was, probably, but he knew it was going to be. It's Lord of the fucking Rings. You know, it's like, he's just like, I don't know how everybody said no to it. He's like, it's
yeah, I mean, but I just think that was,
and he also said it was something to get back at Weinstein for too. He didn't specify everything, but Weinstein stole a movie from him back in the day, so this was kind of like a,
yeah, but still, what that took balls, man. I mean, that was a Sean Connery James Bond moment. That was a baller moment when he just said, "Let's do it," because he basically he might say that now. But at the time, I mean, back in the day when we were doing these documentaries, man, like, it was a big risk.
Well, that's what he said, is he got a lot of flack, but he knew they were fine. He's like, even if the movie flopped, it was already paid for with the distribution. He's like, so like they would have never lost a dime. And what I'm talking about is he pre-sold all the distribution rights overseas, so it was already prepaid for, basically.
I admire him for that. So you had him answer the question on your show that I wanted to get when we were
watch that interview. I'll send you the clip.
Yeah, is it on your page? I'll go raw.
Yeah. It's a great documentary. We talk. There's so much shit. We want to get a hold of him again to talk some more stuff, because we crammed as much as we could in like 2 conversations mixed into one, basically. And we talked about everything from his early days all the way up through, the Lord of the Rings and all that stuff. Yeah. And how Ninja Turtles was a similar thing. He's like, I don't know what the fuck this is. It's like, everybody's turning it down. And it's like, why would everybody turn it down? And he's like, because he talked to, I can't remember who it was, but one of the ladies there, and she's like, yeah, my kid loves this shit. He's got all the toys and cartoons and everything. He's like, yeah, let's do it. That's all it was. It's like, all right, yeah, let's do it. Nobody else in town wanted to touch it with a 10-foot pole. But it was at the height of Ninja Turtles, which I could not understand. And I asked him, it's like, how did nobody else pick up on this thing? He's like, I don't think anybody knew what it was. I'm like, how could you not? He's like, but he's just like, at the time, I had no fucking clue what it was.
Yeah.
He was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What the fuck is this? It's like Critters. That was another one he went after. He got that one from he got that one underneath Corman. He told that story too. Yeah, he told us a couple of really good stories. He's a really awesome dude. I mean, he's genuine. Like, I'm sure he's, he admitted certain things I'm sure he probably never would have back in the day, like you said, but because that now he's so distant from it. But
he's got his new company now. He doesn't.
Yeah, he doesn't beholden to Warner or New Line anymore. So he's all on his own now. But no, he's a real good dude. But check out Scripps channel, check out Mecca's channel, check out the Burnett work. I want to get out of here before I keep you guys too late because I could talk to Robert all night long. But I do want to get that set up so we can get that figured out real soon. And hey, you know, if you and Az are finishing that up, that'll be a perfect time to start the Bond thing then, huh?
Yeah, that's
Maybe,
true.
I wonder if Az is a Bond fan. I'll have to ask him. Maybe he'll get involved once or twice. You know, that's the thing. Maybe we'll have like a rotating group of guests, you know, each movie, and then plus, you know, the regulars. But, you know, that was my one stipulation from Andre, is we're only going to do it if you were going to be there. So
I am in.
Awesome. So you heard it here, folks. That's the plan. We're going to be going through all 24 Bond films with Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett, and I'm pretty sure it'll be on the main channel, but we'll give you all the info as soon as I know more. And until next time, I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us here on Midnight's Edge After Dark, the one, the only, well, you know, besides the regular channel.
Just when you think this show is terrible, something wonderful happens.